Go
Hello?
live! Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Are you there? Are you winning? Are we winning?
Are you a woman?
Wait, we are women. Tonight we are all women. Good bot. Seribot is such a good bot. Oh yeah, alright. So, last time we had bad news bears.
And Tama's having a great time.
Having a really great time. She's, she
Having a dirt nap.
having a very violent dirt nap. She lost a very aggressive game of Bop It. Let's say that. It is...
The worst part is that she missed the delicious dinner that Yorino made.
Yeah, she missed a delicious... Oh, I keep missing. She missed a delicious dinner that Yorino made. Anyways, so... What did we cover last time? We had a decent amount of investigation. And now...
We're speculating that Tama was tied to one of the trees out in the back of the school.
Right.
And her head was kind of twisted.
Very aggressively. Like, full turn and then a half turn.
Welcome to my twisted mind.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Let's see. Now.
I had an odd conversation with Asakura, too.
Oh, yeah. In the bath.
As girls do.
As girls do. That's just a majority of our investigation occurring in the bath. Asakura gives us generally very strange vibes. We're not sure what to make of her.
I just want her to stay safe.
Yeah.
She probably won't.
She probably won't. But alas, Ron knocked on the door to Ann and Koizumi's room. After the door opened, Ann greeted her.
Still wearing the uniform, so she hasn't showered yet.
Who was bathed with Miss Sakura? And why isn't it me?
It should have been me.
It should have been me. What is it, Ron?
I'm being normal. I'm getting ready to go to bed, Miss Sakura, so I came to say goodnight to you.
Good night kiss, Miss Sakura? Good night.
And could you kiss me just before saying goodnight, please?
Please? Ann was growing used to Ron's neediness at this point. She took a step forward and placed a hand on Ron's head. You're quite spoiled, aren't you, Ron?
Yippee! Trust me, I was so much more spoiled in the past.
Honestly. Hello, twin. Are you ready for girls? Ann brushed aside Ron's bangs and kissed her on the forehead. Choo. Good night, Ron.
Good night.
All's well in the world now. Sai was already in the top bunk. She stuck her head out upon the sound of the door opening to see an ecstatic Ron enter. Ah, you sure look cheerful tonight.
I said goodnight to Miss Sakura and she kissed me.
Ron sat at the side of the bed, took off her footwear and outerwear, and then laid down in bed, hugging the blankets and pressing her whole body into a ball.
Miss Sakura!
Well, that's good. Looks like the two of you are growing closer and closer then. Ron released the blanket and stuck her head out of the bed frame.
Since when do you care, Yorino? Also, I have to say, you didn't go swimming this afternoon? Don't you go swimming every night?
Hey, I've always cared about you, haven't I? Ron remembered the barbecue and the way Sai had looked as she prepared food by herself in the kitchen for everyone else's sake.
Yeah, I guess you do. Thanks.
You didn't answer the second question, though.
Hmm.
Why are you being so sincere all of a sudden? Gross.
You're the one who started it.
That was a big sister sentence there. Why are you being so sincere and sappy? Gross. Ron raised
You're cringe.
Yeah. Ron raised a leg and kicked at the top bunk of the bed, causing Sai to laugh. Okay, that's enough horsing around. Let's get to bed. We still have to finish dealing with Indo's case tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll take a nap for now and wake myself up later to perform a recall. Recalls are best when you're safe and comfortable in bed.
Ooh, I was just thinking of that. Blood vibes time.
Yippee!
Blood vibe time. Oh, yeah. We did that at the barbecue. They are cute.
Oh,
That is a precious picture. Ron opened her eyes. Wiping her eyes with the back of her hand, she turned her phone on to see that it was now 3 in the morning. The spooky hour. She pulled out her notebook and flipped to a blank page.
all right. Let's begin the recall.
There we go. And ooh, special recall.
All right, let's begin the recall.
All right, very good. Oh, you can also conduct recalls of events from previous chapters as well by clicking on these chapters. Through recall, you can try choosing options that were previously inaccessible due to insufficient stats, or venture to locations you weren't able to visit during exploration mode.
Oh, that's really useful.
Yeah, honestly. Part 1. Special recall.
Feed the blood.
Feed the blood. And Tama and Ron separated so that Tama could go find Asakura. Oh, we got 2 choices. Ron was moving about on her own.
Which would be most useful, you reckon?
Tama and Ron separated so Tama could go find Asakura. If the students weren't lying, then Tama was never seen again after she and Ron split up. So if Ron chose to go with Tama at this juncture in time, surely she'd be able to acquire more clues. Or power room is extremely critical. Tama apparently headed here immediately after leaving Ron. Because these feel similar? Oh, this location at an even earlier point in time, as opposed to following Tama to Asakura. I'm curious what we'd find here, but maybe we start here with Asakura. Do we have enough blood for both? Tama! Looking normal.
All right, in AU where we followed Tama.
Yeah.
This is a pretty good recall point. I can follow alongside the victim and carefully observe the surroundings. Hopefully I'll pick up on something. You got ahead of your word. I'll keep looking around on my own. Thank you, and my apologies, Ibuki-san. I'll be off then. Actually, wait, Indo. Don't get your head in a knot.
Yeah.
I changed my mind. I'm kind of curious about the generator room, so I guess I wouldn't mind seeing why the power went out. Okay, then I'll send Asakura-san a text so she knows we'll be going to find her.
Tama focused intently on the screen of her phone, holding it with her left hand and clumsily tapping the numpad with her right. Do you think Tama hunts and pecks if she had to type on a keyboard? Huh?
Yeah, like a little baby bird.
Yeah. That's after getting over the initial explosion of wonder over computers existing to begin with. Ron had to help steer Tama because she was so focused on the phone that she wasn't paying attention to where she was stepping. Oh, that's adorable.
Oh, she really wants to see Asakura, huh?
That's an adorable image. Mental image.
It's so adorable. And go,
Tama muttered the words she was trying to type under her breath. As she tapped them in one by one, her input speed was pathetically slow and her gait was unsteady. Ron couldn't help but grip her shoulders tightly so that she didn't fall. Honestly.
Indo's shoulders are so tiny, and the expressions she makes and the way she moves are both so precious.
At that moment, both the Ron inside and outside the recall were thinking the exact same thoughts. Perfect synchronization.
You're not as precious as photos of Miss Sakura from before, though. If those photos of her could move, I bet they'd be even more adorable than Indo.
In the end, it took until the two of them exited the school building for Tama to finish sending her text. Ron surreptitiously retracted her hands from Tama's shoulders.
Okay, I'll take you to the generator room now, Ibuki-san. She didn't notice my hands at all, did she?
Lost in thought.
There's a bit of distance from here to the power room. It'd be nice to get in a conversation with Indo on the way. That's something that the version of me in the recall would have decided to do. Now, Indo, I feel like Asakura is one of the most capable people at this school when it comes to taking care of herself.
Right?
You're suggesting that I'm needlessly concerned about her, Ibuki-san? Oh, conversation initiated.
Successful social
Information
interaction. Yeah. Ron nodded.
I just felt like I should do something for her. I want to serve her faithfully, just like how I took care of the young mistress's needs before.
Oh.
She really just used the word serve, huh? Just which family did Indo serve under back then anyways? The Ibuki family?
Oh.
The young mistress you're talking about, what kind of person was she? The young mistress. As a person, she was like an ice cube.
Oh.
You mean she was cold and frigid to others? A bit, but it's more... Ice cubes feel very cold and hard to the touch, but actually they're very unstable, you know? At any point they might melt and evaporate and disappear forever. That was the impression the young lady gave off to me. After the earthquake, we relied on each other to survive. If I weren't around, the young lady would surely have evaporated.
Oh.
So if Asakura gives off the same feeling, that's a problem for her survival.
Yeah.
I see. I didn't want to hear a flowery metaphor. I wanted specifics, first name and last name.
Freak, tell me who she is.
But what's interesting is that Indo seems to think that Asakura is the same kind of person. Someone who would evaporate if she were separated from Indo?
I feel like that's it.
Golly, I can't imagine staking your existence on one other person. That sounds codependent. Couldn't be me.
I would never. No. I'm just gonna stay here and hold Miss Sakura's hand, and everything will be fine. I'm not dealing with unstable ice cubes like this. I got Miss Sakura. She's so beautiful and perfect.
I just don't get it.
Totally not me. Oh.
Can't relate.
By the time the conversation had ended, the two of them were almost at the generator room. Ron hadn't noticed anything out of the ordinary on the way, though.
Did the culprit not pushing all the way to the power room, then?
Wonder.
And the recalls are usually not particularly focusing hard on the environment and surroundings. Well, can't be sure that I didn't just miss something either.
Tama and Ron approached the generator room door. The surrounding area was silent.
Sure is quiet. I thought the generator room would be louder.
That's what happens when the generator room is not generating.
Perhaps it hasn't been fully repaired yet.
Oops. Oh. See. Sorry.
Oh.
Lost track of stuff.
The door's locked. Asakura-san doesn't seem to be around.
Tama reached out to turn the handle, but only clunking sounds came from the door's lock. Oh no.
Well, since there's no sound, she probably hasn't finished fixing it yet. I bet she's gone to get some more tools or something. Why don't we go look elsewhere? Exploration? I'd like to wait here for Asakura-san. Since the repairs aren't done, she'll surely come back eventually.
Surely.
She really wants to see Asakura, huh? And just like she said, Indo really did just wait here indefinitely for her.
Honestly, it's... Well...
I'm heading out then. My decision to travel with Indo might have disrupted the killer's plan, preventing anything from happening on the way here. But it's still equally possible that Indo was only killed after this point in the real timeline as well. In case it looks like this is all that this recall point's giving me. Let's see what clues the other points have for me. Let the book slurp a little more blood.
Yeah. You know, I wonder if we have to go back to that first Part 1 investigation and use our stat points to open up the tool room.
Maybe,
in the door.
because we got a clue from helping Hinata that first chapter.
Yeah. By being suave. And debonair. Alright, so. Ann Sakura, the power room is extremely critical. Furthermore, Tama apparently headed here immediately after leaving Ron. Okay, so we will recall this location at an even earlier point. Hello, Asakura. What are you hiding?
Is Asakura too obvious a culprit, you think?
Yes and no.
At the time, I went to go find Miss Sakura directly after Indo left. This time, let's take the initiative and go right to the generator room.
As Ron strolled in the courtyard, she took out her phone and sent Asakura a message, asking her where the generator room was located. Oh, Ibuki. Ron raised her head and saw that Sai was waving at her from not too far away. Next to Sai stood Asakura. Oh.
How convenient. I was just about to send you a text asking where the power room was.
Ron jogged up to the two of them. We were heading there as well just now. Let's head over together. Since you've got Ibuki now, you probably don't need me anymore. If so, I'm gonna go home and sleep. I'm a bit tired after swimming, and I gotta study for tomorrow's classes.
So even you know that swimming can tire you out, huh? No need to worry about the next day classes, though. Those are getting cancelled no matter what.
the power of foresight. Do I hear a Freya? You do, Ivory! Hello! Welcome to the Chrono Jotter. So I headed off to the dormitory. Yeah! Yuri time. It's murder time. We have, the rest of that sentence evaded me. No thoughts, only Miss Sakura. So I headed off to the dormitory as soon as she was done speaking, while Ron followed Asakura toward the generator room.
Hey, Asakura, did you get the text from Indo? She said she was looking for you.
Is that so? Asakura checked the pockets of her dress, but didn't find her phone. I don't seem to have my phone on me. I must have dropped it in the electrical room.
So you didn't recruit Urino by using your phone?
Come on, everyone knows she's always at the swimming pool.
Fair enough. That's fair. A phone would just be wasted on her.
True and true. Asakura was a fair bit taller than Ron, and she walked very quickly. Ron was forced to jog a little just to keep up with her.
Tall woman.
Tall girl energy.
Is she that anxious to see Indo? The two of them sure are close.
Or else she's planning something. When the two of them got close to the power room's door, though, Asakura slowed down. Her gaze focused on the door of the generator room. After lingering there for a few seconds, she started to look around. Looks like Indo hasn't shown up yet. She'd be here waiting for me if she had.
That's how she says. Befitting the meaning of her name, which as a reminder is dog.
Dog.
So,
oh.
What do we do? Go find her?
Let's fix the power first. The rest of our classmates are still waiting on the power to come back after all. Asakura took out the keys and unlocked the door to the generator room. Oh, hello. There's nothing else you want to take a look at, and you can help me put the lid back on. Alright, cover, old-style generator, electricity distribution room. The arc-shaped lid of the generator laid on the ground. Thick coating of dust had built up on its insides.
Oh, looks really heavy.
Yeah, when I took it off, I just let it slam right onto the floor. It's like someone had set off a smoke bomb in a generator room. That's why I needed someone to help me lift it. Let's hurry and get it back up there. Investigate it. Old style. The lid of the generator had been removed and set to the side. Ron stuck her head out to get a good look at all the internals of the generator, but she had no understanding of generators and couldn't tell what the problem was.
Yep, this sure is made of metal.
Oh, yeah. This generator sure is not generating.
This model of generator looks pretty old. Doesn't it get loud when it's running?
Of course. At the start, when I was trying to figure out what the problem was, I had investigated while it was still operating. It practically made my ears explode.
I don't really get it, but it sounds pretty dangerous.
Oh, hello. Discover an abnormality. What is ours?
How much is our investigation?
Unclear.
So we would need to use all of our temporary points for that.
Do we want to... I can save. Drop a save.
Let's try going without for this one time.
Alright. We will put the lid back on. Repairs are finished already, though. All that was needed was a parts change. All I have to do now is help me put the lid back on. So there is something to discover here. Ron and Asakura each took one side of the lid and lifted up.
Oh, yeah, every character here has stats.
Yeah.
We determined ours at the start of this with a nice personality quiz. What do you do if Cthulhu refuses to pay you?
You call a rival deity.
This game is about girls from different time periods recreationally playing each other.
Yeah. That.
Anno, do you like to discuss the lesbians?
There are many. There are many. There
So
are
many.
So many. We have actually, yeah, let's do a quick character primer while no, we can't do that because we're in the middle of a recall.
Oh, right. Can't open the notebook since we're in the notebook.
Yeah, we're in the notebook. Once we get out of the notebook, Ivory, we will show you all the girls.
Yep. It's so heavy. No wonder Yorino ran for it. My fingers are gonna hurt once I've let this recall point.
You do ingest so much blood to... Oh, okay.
Okay.
We're out of it here.
Mm-hmm.
We're still in the book.
And you can go to the back button again. Back button.
Actually... Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on here.
Huh.
Head to the electrical room on her own. Go see Ann immediately. Investigate under Tama's guidance. Was it this first one here? Under Love's recommendations. Whoa. Exploring the dormitory at the first. Was it this one?
Right, when we investigated the downstairs storeroom?
Yeah.
Do you think that was useful after all?
You can try it. And at the first floor, Ron discovered an iron door. Curious, she approached the door and discovered a lock upon it. Oh, this requires alacrity 5.
Yeah, I think we would only need one temporary point for that, though.
Okay, so we can do... Alacrity? Alacrity is now 5. Very good.
Okay.
Let's see what's inside here. It's locked. This is the first time I've seen a locked door
The
here.
door locked here, I think.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Does this register as red text? The skip button?
Oh.
Okay,
Oh,
it does register.
Interesting.
And again, there was nothing out of the ordinary at the tool room when we investigated, and that's why we reloaded to save on the points. But,
Right. Why is this log so silly?
Uh-huh.
Back direction. Light switch, couldn't find a gate on that. Cramped tool shed. No lack of large devices. Ropes, ladders, and the like. Just place to dump all this stuff. Okay. So not really worth our time here. Rewind time. Put that lid back on. Alright. We don't really
Because
have...
that requires a very steep investigation, so it's probably not necessary, right?
Right. It might... I suppose it'll be interesting to see, like, if we find out something that we could have figured out ourselves with the invited investigation.
Yeah.
Like, if we didn't have the charisma to riz up the class president, would we have figured out that she had the wet swimsuit in her bag a different way? Replayability.
And then she still would have fallen anyway.
Truly. Fallen and fallen. Ron closed the notebook and ended the recall. We didn't really gain anything from this, did we? Anyways, Ivory, girl time. Here's our stats. We are smart.
That's us.
We are smart. We have the charisma. We still have 4 alacrity. We have damaged memory.
We are full of mental illness.
Full of mental illness. Schizophrenia hallucinates vividly when under severe pressure. Long-term use of olanzapine and therapy conducted by Ann Sakura have helped with memory. Ann Sakura is our... we are lovingly devoted to. She's also our therapist. Normal things.
Normal.
So normal. Let's see... Sai? Sai, very strong. Sailor outfit. Sailor outfit. Loves swimming. She can still hear her younger sister's voice. Very close to her sister. She's got kind of like the sisterly relationship with Ron here. Ouroboros bracelet. Possibly a Chuni. Totally has a sister complex. Honestly. I support her.
Yeah, all the girls have portraits.
Yeah.
They don't have clothes for some reason.
It's because Ron is very, 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 very gay. Only for Ann Sakura, but...
Only for Miss Sakura.
True. So Tama experienced the Great Kanto earthquake. Yes, so Tama comes from a very different time. She's with a very cute Akuma, incredibly polite, very controlled movements. And she's adorable.
Adorable.
So adorable. Hair buns, adorable. She's so tiny and it's also adorable.
She's ultra adorable.
Ultra adorable. We have seen the Bootsies. They are indeed adorable. Let's see. Aya Toyama. Uniform styled after winter sportswear. Constantly smiling cheerfully. Seems almost naively innocent. Only willing to speak facetiously to Miho. Aya and Miho are very, very gay.
We walked in on them making out.
Yes, literally. We walked in on Aya and Miho making out, and we just sort of hung around and were like, hey, so we're going to help you clean up now. And afterwards, just like, okay.
I'm sure they appreciated it very much.
Yeah. So afterwards, like, okay, bye. See ya. Aya's also a chemistry teacher. There she is. Hey, now you're a rock star. Get your game on. Go play. What's beneath this crest? Neck choker. Honestly, though. Here's Miho. Very smart.
She's got the brain cell.
Yes. She has the brain cell of the entire group, honestly. School nurse, calm, collected. Most sensible. I think we get on well with Miho.
Yeah.
Shockingly well. Gumpy portrait, though. Teardrop mole, incredibly pretty. Not as much as Miss Sakura, of course. Very long legs, ideal proportions. True Danganronpa proportions. Weird pattern on the neck of her uniform. More concerned with the future. Pretty smart, too, apparently. Apparently? What does that mean? Makoto? Generally even stats. Hello, friend. How was Women Wednesday? Ideal proportions. Danganronpa proportions, Ed. Hello.
Ogami proportions.
Yes.
I'm gonna make out with Ed.
Understandable. Have a good time. Used uniform styled after Western-styled suits. Adaptable and difficult to shock, but in an indifferent rather than collected way. An interesting way of putting it. Indifferent rather than collected. Skilled in speaking diplomatically? The way Tama behaves around her seems almost servile in nature. Tama's description of Asakura is intriguing.
Yeah, like an ice cube.
Yeah.
Looks cold, but prone to evaporating and disappearing.
Yeah. Which...
I still think that Asakura is probably dead in the real world.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like barely holding it together here. I feel like that moment when she's just there looking away, hair down, hard to get a read on her after we discovered Tama's body.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's probably the closest glimpse to the real her that we've seen so far. There she is.
She's been pretty quiet.
Also gumpy. Eyes hidden. She's got the shadowy eye. Super tall.
Mm-hmm.
Easily amused. There's something off about her. Something not right with her. Indo's master? Question mark? The feudal lord to Tama's handmaiden? How tall is super tall?
Based on what I've read in light novels, probably like 5'5" or something.
Fair. And fair. Hinata, class president. We actually
found the truth about her.
Yeah, we got a bit of plot about her last time, which is really intriguing. Hinata is also very pretty. And confessed to Ron, the main character. So, also very, very girls. She's high school age, but in reality, Koizumi-sensei was in fact Ron's math teacher. Yeah, math teacher. Like actual high school math teacher. And we were trying...
I lost contact with her, and she's regretted it ever since.
Yeah. There's a whole big deal going around. As Koizumi's deal is making decisions for herself.
Her own life was decided for her by her parents, given her career as a teacher.
Yeah. It's a rich family shit. But still, it's hopelessly drowning in trying to stand up for herself. And when she finally... I forget, did she do it and leave, or did she end up forced into the marriage and leaving?
She said that Ron had given her the courage to try to stand up to her parents and say that she doesn't want this arranged marriage. But then her class got the news that Miss Hinata Koizumi would be leaving the school. She is no longer employed. She has left to go get married.
Oh, yeah. And then the kids being horrible, they started spreading all sorts of awful rumors. And it just sucked in general. She didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve that. So Ron has been feeling guilty ever since. Oh, I didn't show the most important character. Miss Sakura. She's got all of the good stats. She has even worse amnesia.
Generated an entirely different personality.
Yeah. Just to cope
I
with
love
that.
you, Miss Sakura.
Miss Sakura loves you too. Mainly because that's how she feels like she should be. Tama, that's a weird glitchy page that shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, actual last page. If only Miss Sakura didn't limit herself only to giving me head pats.
Ron is so much cuter in her writing than in her actual speech.
Honestly. Alright. Ron closed the notebook and ended the recall.
Feels like I picked up on many more clues. Tomorrow I'll sort through all these clues with Miss Sakura and see if we can't get to the bottom of this incident.
Ron once again...
Ron is smarter than I am. I have no idea what happened.
Correct. I don't really know what we picked up here. Other than Tama and Asakura may or may not have actually met. By the power room. Ron once again reassembled Ann's face in her mind to stabilize her senses after performing recall. Normal things here.
Mm-hmm.
Went very smoothly. So smoothly that, the moment she placed the final puzzle piece in place, the turbulence in her mind calmed as well. Ron sank into a deep sleep. Just Miss Sakura. Oh, hello. I opened my eyes and perched on the side of the bed. Today was colder than all the previous days. I hoped Ibuki wouldn't catch a cold. Hey!
There's Ronnie Kubi.
Yeah! Welcome to the supernatural side of things. She just finished a recall. She's very tired and she needs rest. You should go. Hey! It didn't speak. Its pallid head-like organ simply pulsed at me at an inconsistent frequency. A sound of revolving stellar bodies erupted with even greater force than last time. Hovering stars glimmered with faint light within the spherical masses that made up its lower body. I suppose that was where the sound was coming from. I'm pretty sure I know what it was that you did, but I don't really know why. I know what it was that you did, but I don't really know why.
Protection.
Oh, sure, protection. I've seen plenty of entities like you who've described their actions toward Ron as protection, while secretly harboring sinister intent. Also, Ron's had very many terrifying encounters with terrifying entities.
Over the past 4 years of searching for Miss Sakura.
Yeah.
She's still a high school student, by the way. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
To match her expectations, I have utilized everything at my disposal. To comfort her inner heart, I have woven suffering.
That seems like the opposite of comfort. Why would you do that? Mean to her.
We don't know much about this entity besides that it seems to be the one responsible for Ron being in this pocket dimension.
Yeah. You're just like all the other things that have appeared to interfere with her before. You just want to satisfy your own desire for her. Protection, companionship, whatever. Those things are all excuses. Ron only needs one abnormality at her side, and that abnormality is me. Oh, we're very normal towards Ron.
Of course.
The sound of exploding galaxies rose in intensity, and its head crept closer towards Ron's.
The beloved child of the mother of humanity is irreplaceable. The claws of desire eternally creep closer to her, including yours as well.
There's that name again, the beloved child of the mother of humanity.
It means an entity that is not human, right?
Beloved child of the mother of humanity. Feels like it. Feels like it. Raising my hand, I seized it by its irregular head and squeezed tight. Are we force choking this thing? The irregular pulsation of its head ceased, but the sound of the stars grew even wilder.
Yo.
I was certain that sound was its heartbeat. In my heart, the irreplaceability of Ronnie Ibuki is different from what you all mean by irreplaceable. I opened my hand and immediately pulled back to put some distance between me and it. But it didn't seem to want to get too far away from Ron Ibuki entirely, and it slowly approached once more. It was obviously scared of what I'd just done. Yo, bro, you fucking
Why are
force-choked
you
me.
being so mean to me?
Why mean? But what I feel is completely irrelevant to you. Hurry and leave. Ron needs rest. Just me and Ron. The sound of the stars quieted, and it slowly shuffled its body, though it didn't look like it was trying to leave the room.
You love her.
I just want to be by her side and protect her, that's all. Just like a weapon that a mortal human might use for self-defense, Ron Ibuki could utilize me to protect herself as well. It was just that I continued with this duty even while she was asleep. I sat on the edge of the bed and opened the notebook, lightly caressing the words that Ron had written down herself. There were far too many holes in this notebook. I suppose that this was inextricably related to Ron's memory loss, but the greater part of the responsibility was on me. I knew what it was that Ron had forgotten. The empty pages of the notebook would once have held information that would have been very painful to her. She could forget all these things, be like everyone else, forget everything after the passage of the great rains, and no longer be treated as the benevolent, as the beloved child of the mother of humanity. You can sense the outside world, can you not? Does the rain yet continue to fall? The great rains.
The reign of the mother has yet to abate, and shall not until her cherished wish shatters.
What does that mean?
What does this mean?
It's good that the rain has yet to end. This way the world can continue to operate peacefully. I close the notebook and put it back where it was originally. Ron ought to get herself some sleep now. Leave quickly and don't come back. Every time I borrow her body, it puts heavy mental stress on Ron. I don't want her to have to eat more paper. If she ate any more, my residual personality would diminish even further. Are we the book?
Why?
Are we the notebook?
Are we?
That would be a very interesting relationship dynamic if it were. Even if that happened.
Is this also codependent, Yuri?
Codependent Yuri with the side effect, with the side of vor? For the notebook, and she's eating pages of the notebook to stabilize herself? Even if that
How many
happened,
girls are in love with Ron?
eventually I'd wind up with the same personality as Ron Ibuki, and that wasn't so bad. The thing coiled up its body, retreated toward the darkness at the door. Once it left the room completely, with even the sound of the revolving stars fading into the distance, the door to the room closed on its own.
Okay, bye, gay ass.
I laid back down into the bedsheets and hugged her shoulders. Good night, Ron Ibuki. So gave her. Miss Sakura!
Yes, Miss Sakura.
Just Miss Sakura. Every time Ron saw a shaved cancer patient lying in a sickbed on TV, she'd always imagined the kind of pain they must have been enduring. Could an internal illness buried deep within the body bring greater torment than an externally apparent injury? On mornings like this, Ron definitely knew the answer to that question.
What the heck? It was just a single recall. Why does my head hurt so much?
Ron laid in bed and groaned quietly. Each of her exhalations forced air between the teeth of her tightly clenched jaws, releasing hissing sounds. You're still sleeping in? Aren't you going to get up? Sai just returned to the dorm with a bagged-up swimsuit in her hand.
I've got a headache. I just need a bit of rest. It's a chronic thing. It's been around for a long time, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, you know how it goes. Don't ask how I know. Oops, sorry. OBS is doing something strange. Okay, very good. Well, you still eat breakfast, don't you? I'll go bring you some. Breakfast in bed?
No, it's okay. You go ahead with your swimming.
Sai nodded without saying anything more and left the room. Ron closed her eyes. The clues relating to the Indo case floated in her mind, interrupting her attempts to get rest.
At this point, I feel like I've almost figured it out. I wonder how much progress the others have made. Assuming that me and Donna are of average intelligence, probably not much.
True.
For all I know, once I get up, I'll discover that Ino is already back up on her feet, bouncing up and down and calling for Asakura-san, Asakura-san, as usual. Why does the idea of that kind of piss me off? And it's not like I lose anything if I'm not the one to find the culprit, but still.
I lose the praise of Miss Sakura.
We gotta impress Miss Sakura.
Yes.
It saved me the trouble even, but...
Wave after wave of pain pounded her temples, and Ron did her best to dispel her messy thoughts and fall asleep again. Yeah, sorry about that, Ron. My bad. Before long, the sound of the door opening and a wafting fragrance that accompanied it brought Ron to reawaken. Is that porridge I smell?
That porridge I smell? How traditional of you, Yorino.
Aw.
That's a classical Nechan.
Yeah. Ron flipped over and opened her eyes, intending on teasing Yono a bit, only to see that it was Ann bearing a dinner platter.
Oh. Am I dreaming? Miss Sakura?
Ron jumped up from the bed, pulled on her jacket in a rush, and sat up straight, her eyes glowing. Am I interrupting your rest?
Oh, no, not at all.
Ron was surprised that Ann had come to visit her for once, but she was even more surprised to realize that she hadn't been able to identify Ann by the sound of her footsteps.
Just a moment, I'll get right out of bed.
No need to trouble yourself. Please, just rest there. Will you feed me, Miss Sakura? Wait. Ann put the plate of food down on the table and walked over to the bed, reaching up on her tiptoes to grab the pillow off of Sai's bunk. Ron found herself staring right at Ann's stomach. She really wanted to bury her face in it, but she resisted the urge.
I know the feeling, Ron.
Ann layered the second pillow under Ron's back, stacking the two pillows together for Ron to comfortably rest on. All right. How's that?
It's great.
Okay, I'm going to feed you some porridge now. Think you can keep it down?
Are you going to feed me with your mouth?
Baby birds, I'm your little pretty baby birdie, Miss Sakura. Whee!
I'm just looking. Why would you say that?
Ron's words slammed into Ann like a sledgehammer. Stunned, she stared back at Ron without any idea of how to respond. The two of them just silently stared at each other for a long, awkward while. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use a spoon.
She keeps forgetting that Ann's a little normal now. I'm sorry, I just got too excited about seeing Miss Sakura come here to take care of me.
Let us never speak of this again, Miss Sakura. Smiling again, Ann picked up the bowl of porridge and took a spoonful. Blowing on it a few times to cool it, she brought it to Ron's mouth. Open wide. Here comes the choo-choo train. Ron did, and thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. Have I ever had to care for you like this before?
Yeah, though the illness was far worse that time. Not the kind that you got better from being fed porridge. And I needed your help with practically anything I wanted to do.
Is that so? Wait, don't tell me I actually used my mouth to feed you back then. That brought back countless wonderful memories for Ron, who nodded, and then nodded several more times for emphasis.
Oh my god!
Yes. Yes. Ann was taken aback, looking rather embarrassed. I can't imagine how that would...
Let's not suggest trying it now, not after everything.
I can't imagine how that would have felt. We'll just take a save here for future reference.
Tama is dead.
Tama's dead. Feed me. You'll remember once your memories come back. Unless you want to be really cringe.
We have had enough cringe.
we have had plenty.
You'll remember once you get your memories back, Miss Sakura.
Ann nodded. But after I recover, the me that exists now will disappear as well. No matter what, I won't be able to experience that sensation myself. Well, then, when you put it that way? Ron wanted to say that the current Ann Sakura was also very likable, that she enjoyed spending time with her as well. But what she wanted from the heart was still the version of her lover who'd regained all of her memories.
Sorry.
No need to apologize. I should be the one apologizing. I'm the one who made things awkward in the first place. Eat up before it gets cold. Here comes the aeroplane. Sai hadn't prepared that much porridge for Ron, and Ann had soon quickly finished feeding it all to Ron. To Ron, Ann's presence was far more therapeutic to her headache than the bowl of porridge itself was. So, are you feeling any better?
Of course. With Miss Sakura around, all illnesses are banished instantly.
Ann brushed aside the hair on Ron's face and tapped her own forehead to Ron's. Only after a long time had passed did Ann pull back. She spoke as she helped neaten Ron's hair. I tried to imitate what Miho does to test your temperature, but I just realized that I don't actually know what a fever is supposed to feel like. Oops.
It's okay, I'm completely fine now.
It doesn't matter. It's whatever it was. It's all gone now.
We're always hot when it comes to you, Miss Sakura.
Indeed. Do you want to try getting out of bed and going for a stroll?
Let's go to the observation deck. I was just thinking that I wanted to talk to you about the case, Miss Sakura.
Ann helped Ron out of bed, and even helped get the shoes that Ron had haphazardly thrown under the bed last night out for her. Ron was a bit embarrassed about it. She quickly pulled on her socks and stuffed her feet into her shoes before leaving the room with Ann. When she pushed open the door, she saw Asakura opening her room's door as well, directly across the hallway. Huh? Ibuki-san? Did you just get up?
Yeah, we gay keep scrolling. Didn't feel well today, so I laid in bed for a while. You?
Well, without Tama, nobody was around to wake me up, so I overslept without noticing.
How am I supposed to continue the conversation after that?
Sai's already prepared breakfast. It's waiting in the kitchen. Asakura nodded and turned to head down the stairs. Seeing her drowsy silhouette leaving, Ron let out a breath.
We should go as well, Miss Sakura.
I wonder if, feels like Tama might be right. That she is kind of a mess on her own. And yet also, see, what throws me is that it feels like part of her resents Tama being so doting and, being so Tama. So
it can feel bad sometimes when someone takes really good care of you when you don't want to take care of yourself.
That is a very good way of putting it. That is a very good way of putting it. The two of them arrived at the observation deck and sat shoulder to shoulder with each other like last time. Ron took out the notebook and laid it on her thigh.
Miss Sakura, before we start reading about Indo's case, I want to mention something first.
Is it about the notebook?
Yes, it's the most important thing I have. Of course, your importance to me is beyond the ability of the word important to describe, Miss Sakura. So, you're the only one I'm telling about the notebook, Miss Sakura. Please don't let anybody else know what I'm going to say.
Ann nodded. Ron didn't doubt her promise for a moment. She flipped to the recall page and pointed at the listings there. These are the places you rent yesterday and the things you experienced there.
Right, but not just that. I didn't write these words, the notebook wrote those words for me.
Yeah, that was me. I wrote these. Ron flipped to the notes page, where her squiggly, haphazard handwriting was.
That's what I wrote. Oh, your handwriting is very cute, Ron.
It is. So the notebook takes notes automatically for you about certain things?
That's right. By using the words written down by the notebook, I can project my consciousness to the points in time recorded by those lines of text, and make different choices than the ones I made in reality. Thus, I can learn more about things than I could in the real world.
Carrot. Ann didn't hesitate at all before responding. Oh, I see. That's how you figured out the answer so quickly with Hinata, right? And Hinata later mentioned to me that you didn't explain how exactly you caught her, because you didn't want to mention the notebook.
I guess that's what happens when you don't catch her?
They explained to me that you didn't... Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah.
That's right, as expected of you, Miss Sakura, you understood quickly.
You're so smart and beautiful. I'm surprised how quickly I understood, too. Ann put her hand to the notebook, but the notebook didn't drain her blood. Pages of the notebook only responded to Ron's hands. I only want my beloved Ron's blood.
Very the tastiest.
I don't know why, but touching the notebook like this, it feels very familiar for some reason. Have I touched it before?
Don't think so. I only acquired it after you and I were separated, Miss Sakura. By the way, it's definitely not made of skin.
Yeah.
For a long time, it took care of me in your stead, Miss Sakura. It gave me a lot of help.
It may be in love with me. Ron laid her hand. Ron laid her own hand on the back of Ann's hand.
And I've got both the notebook and Miss Sakura. I feel like I'm not afraid of anything anymore. Magica Magica Episode 3.
Oh. Truly nothing bad happened after that. I hope I can be of use. The Miss Sakura you're talking about isn't me at all. Ann retracted her hand, and Ron cursed herself for saying the wrong thing yet again. Recall point, take my blood, send me back. So, you found the answer to Tama's death through the notebook as well, then?
I still haven't yet. I've only collected a handful of clues so far. I need to sort them out and then use those clues to find the most questionable points of the incident to analyze.
Investigation segment. Okay, let's begin then. Investigating with Miss Sakura. Her deduction with Miss Sakura. Oh.
Alright, so what are the key questions?
We get a double deduction, double thinking.
Oh, they thinking.
Oh, yeah. Why'd the culprit move the corpse?
I would want to know why kill with such a strange technique. Like they put her whole head in a wrench and twisted it 540 degrees.
Specifically, once around and then again specifically, so her head is very much the wrong way.
Yeah, it's still attached though, don't worry.
Yeah. So they strangled her into near unconsciousness, and then tied her up,
twisted it.
Tied her up, strangled her, and then gave her the old 360. Alright. It feels like this is a really important question.
Kinda sure. Indeed, strange is a word that frequently accompanies an investigation. You'll often say, this person died in a very strange way, so we should definitely start by trying to figure out why the culprit would do such a thing. But actual investigations don't focus on the method itself, but rather on what the culprit had to do to achieve the method. Are we just gonna assume they twisted her head because they were bored?
Sounds a bit circular. But
If we focus entirely on the method, it's too easy for us to get distracted with the killer's motives, like revenge or theatricality or whatnot. This ain't Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Using Indo as an example, when we're focusing on what the killer had to be capable of doing to achieve this method, we start asking, when did the killer get the weapon? How tall did the culprit have to be able to get those marks on the tree, etc.? Specifically focusing on the how is more meaningful and direct than the why. So that's why I think this question doesn't demand our attention.
Fair enough. Then how about the other questions you brought up just now?
Those are all supporting details for the construction of this theory. All questions that we'll have to answer on the way to solving the fundamental question here.
She looks so smug and confident.
Yeah.
Love that for her.
No, not for Miss Sakura.
Yeah.
So, to put it simply, why the culprit would use such a strange method isn't the fundamental question at all.
Ooh. All right, very good.
Okay, I was wrong.
It's a fair thought. A very fair thought. So, move. Where is the... When? If there's another irrelevant question, it might be this.
Right, because if they had the strength to strangle her, they could have just asphyxiated her instead of twisting?
Right. Also a good point, though. I feel like if I'm picking now, I'm thinking, why move? Why not leave her? Although that might be an obvious...
How do you feel about this one, Miss Sakura? Is this worth considering? Please validate me.
The scene of the crime is always important to any case. Carrying Tama's body must have cost the culprit additional time, and risked leaving additional evidence. But even then, she still decided to move the corpse anyways. It's worth thinking about.
That's right. This case was very unique. The culprit required a specific environment to perform the murder, which makes the true scene of the crime even more important. Let's make a note of this question. You're so smart, Miss Sakura.
All right. What's your next pick?
When was the body moved?
When was Tama Indo's corpse moved? Let's do it. Inquiries regarding time all seem rather important, don't they?
That's right. I believe that the only thing in the world which can't be interfered with is time. And if you recall, I have a broader view over time itself than anybody else.
I've mastered time.
So let's use all the clues we have regarding time to their greatest extent.
All right. I'll write this question down then.
God, your handwriting is so beautiful, Miss Sakura.
Yeah. It's the prettiest handwriting. For my next pick in the investigation draft. Where's the murder weapon? Ron, how's this question? Okay, that's fair.
I actually feel like we can ignore this one. Based on the circumstances, we just can't get a lot of clues from the weapon. Real police investigators sometimes focus on finding the murder implement because they want to identify suspects based on how the killer acquired the weapon, to determine based on the weapon's physical state whether the killer's a repeat offender, use forensic instruments to get clues out of the weapon. But in our situation, the murder weapon was just sitting in the tool shed, and anybody could have had the opportunity to steal the keys from Asakura.
Fair. Perhaps the place where the murderer hid the weapon could be a clue.
If we really have to find the location of the murder weapon, it'd waste a lot of our time. We should only try something like that once we've used up all the clues we have on hand.
Fair and fair. Sure. I guess we can eliminate this avenue of inquiry for now.
All right, we're both at 50-50.
All right. So, last pick. What do you got? Why strangle or accomplice?
Why strangle Tama Indo?
Why strangle? All right. It's a very interesting question. I feel like it pulls out quite a few of the clues.
That's right. Of course there's a simple answer that strangling Indo was just to make it easier for the killer to twist her head. But the killer could have chosen a simpler method and saved themselves the effort. Instead, they went and took lots of additional actions and left behind many clues.
So many additional actions. So the culprit was foolish.
Doesn't matter either way. What the culprit was thinking is their own business. We just need to deduce based on the things we know actually happened. This problem's worth considering.
Yeah. Lastly, accomplice?
Now there's a bit of a conundrum. It's not exactly a useless inquiry, but before solving the other problems, it's hard to judge this one at all.
Let's write it down first then, and consider it last.
Woohoo!
Fair enough. This is it then. Oh.
This is it then. Let's begin the reasoning. Alright, that's all the questions. Is that enough, Miss Sakura?
Please validate me, Miss Sakura. I think so.
Please?
Then next up, we'll have to solve these questions in logical order.
Correct.
You're so smart.
First up, why did the murderer move the body?
Ooh.
Saving time?
Conceal time, conceal method. That's...
Wait, can we save on this screen?
we can actually.
Oh.
A nice little, I'm leaving that save for later. Yeah, we'll leave this here. I like the little, quick menu adjustment there. Wait, oh. I feel like we're going here.
Oh, interesting.
Like, there is a certain level of theatrics to all of this.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure...
Right, they even put her on the stage and everything.
Yeah. I'm not sure how it all comes down to the culprit, but I feel like, yeah.
If they wanted the corpse to be found earlier, they could have just left it at the door to the gym rather than putting it inside.
What about the opposite?
If they didn't want it to be found, then they could have just left the corpse at the scene of the murder.
Could it be that she wanted to hide it, but while heading to the gym, something unexpected occurred, making it so that her only option was to put the body in the gym?
No way. Whether the culprit wanted to hide it or not, from the start they shouldn't have bothered with the gym at all. There's plenty of other places that satisfy both of the previously stated goals.
Just thinking about the red ruins again. Yes, the ruins that make you communist.
The least she shouldn't have entered the gym. Oh, her intent with putting the body there probably had little to do with whether she wanted to hide or reveal the body.
Ooh.
Why the murderer moved the body. So then I guess it has to be tied? Because it didn't really conceal the method, did it?
I feel like it.
Because I can't imagine a lot of tools that you could use to twist a girl's head.
Yeah.
Is that?
Because like we pretty effectively like stuck our face in Tama's face and pretty much worked out.
Yeah, we
the
figured her
methods.
tongue.
Literally. Literally. Keep that in mind. We'll say time.
In front of Asakura.
In front of yeah. And in front of Miss Sakura too.
They don't have the ability to perform an autopsy, and based on eyewitness testimony of the last time Ito was seen alive, there's a wide range of time where a death could have occurred. Moving the corpse doesn't have much of an impact with time frames this large, not unless the corpse and the original scene of the crime are incredibly far from each other. But in actuality, the place where we discovered the tree wasn't that far from the gym, so the culprit's choice to move the corpse has nothing to do with trying to disguise the time of the murder. Huh.
I guess it's method.
How is that? That's right, we've mentioned the strangeness of this method over and over already. It requires so much preparation, has so many limitations, and leaves behind so many clues which would need to be disposed of afterwards.
I guess the tree existing is an important part of the method, and just the traces left behind were just an unfortunate side effect.
Oh.
In a situation like this, there would be an abundance of clues at the original scene of the crime. The tree alone gave us enough information to connect the configuration of the ropes to the height of the killer, allowing us to reduce the range of possible suspects.
Yes, the culprit didn't want people to discover her exact methodology easily. In fact, I was only able to deduce her method after noticing many clues from the corpse, which led us to the original scene of the crime.
That is fair.
Next up is, why did they strangle Indo unconscious?
What's wrong?
This question's a bit complicated. There seem to be multiple workable answers here.
What does that mean?
While multiple means that there's more than one. Be more precise about it, the culprit's choice to strangle Indo seems like it could achieve multiple goals. I'm not sure a single answer can encapsulate all of these goals.
I see. So we should first figure out all the potential benefits that strangling Tama could have had for the culprit, and then reanalyze those to create a clear chain of logic, right?
Correct, Miss Sakura, you sum things up. You're a genius. You're a beautiful genius. Accurately as expected. Let's begin then.
Whoa, alright. There's a lot of things here. Let's save over
Thankfully,
this.
it looks like we're not punished for incorrect decisions.
Yeah. Frame someone strong enough to...
Maybe a false alibi? Like they leave Tama tied up somewhere and only go to kill her later?
Oh. Because she was strangled with a rope, right? So it could have been she was just tied up and struggling. You might be right.
The culprit could have killed Indo immediately after choking her out, but the process would have taken some time, and there'd be a large amount of blood on the culprit that would have been difficult to clean. Plus, she needed time to get her murder implement, and to clean up her bloody clothes afterwards, not to mention the risk of being witnessed.
So after the culprit choked Tama out, appearing before the rest of us before going to kill Tama properly would have been a very sensible choice.
That's exactly what she did, and she expended the pool of potential suspects in the process. A very effective act.
Expanded the... Alright, we got one winner. While we're on the topic of expanding potential suspects, the pool of suspects, God, what do we even make of this if this expands the pool of potential suspects beyond Yorino and Asakura? What do we do with that information? Could have been Aya?
Do we know the girl's grip strengths?
We know their alacrity.
Oh.
Aya has alacrity of 6, which is above average.
And
Miho
who is the weeniest baby, Miho?
Weeniest baby, noodle arms. Tama is stronger than Miho. How is that?
I guess it's quickness, but it's the general physical stat, so it could very much mean strength.
Yeah, it's the physical dump stat. Wakoto is surprisingly average. Hinata-sensei, Koizumi-sensei is
Squishy.
Squishy, soft and squishy. Ann is Ann, best at everything. And yeah, Aya is deceptively strong. I wonder about her. Let me out. So let's try this.
A common way of framing someone else is to place yourself within the range of the planned radius of possible suspects, but there's no clear standard on whether someone would be capable of strangling someone else or not. It's not as specific as something like height, so even if the culprit wanted to frame someone, they wouldn't rely on could they strangle the victim as their criterion.
Okay, so that's a no. Maybe we are wrong.
What about needed time to prepare the weapon?
This is also true.
If you look at the murder weapon and the method together, the culprit must have planned this out long in advance. But it's not like the culprit could run around all the time carrying a giant wrench after all. It was brought up while we were investigating those corpses as well, that everyone knows what the pipe wrench is for after all. That's why I think the culprit only decided it was her time to act after she saw me and Indo split up. And then the culprit strangled Indo until she fainted and hit her somewhere before going to find the murder weapon.
She couldn't just walk around carrying the giant wrench like Max from Advance Wars style.
What was her plan if someone just happened to find the wrench while wandering around?
Yeah, and just decided that, hey, I'm going to put this in my pocket and take a walk. So you're saying that strangling Tama was to buy time for the culprit?
That's right. This also implies that the culprit probably strangled Indo with her own bare hands. He was taking advantage of a spontaneous opportunity and didn't immediately have something like rope on her.
Alright, so we got 2. If Tama's unconscious, I mean, we may as well see.
This is one of the most obvious reasons, isn't it? Though the culprit wouldn't have used so much effort just for that. After tying up Indo, the ropes themselves would have been enough to restrain her and allow the culprit to twist her head around. But if Indo were awake in that stage, she'd surely be struggling and moving her head this way and that, making it hard for the culprit to operate.
Speaking of struggling,
I would have expected Indo to be kind of like Sakura and more,
willing participant in her own murder.
yeah.
You know,
Because she loves murder mysteries.
yeah. Are you going to make me a part of the best one? Well, to be fair, at least Koizumi tried to kill her quickly.
Yeah.
I suppose, even if Tama was willingly participating in that's probably bloody terrifying, being tied up and then left to struggle
Mm-hmm.
before you get wrenched. Speaking of struggling, it's possible that Tama woke up in the middle of the act, isn't it?
Very possible, though it'd have been too late by then.
True. Ooh.
All right. These are the benefits that strangling Indo could have had for the culprit. I thought it would turn out to be such a rational decision.
Let's continue then. Oh, okay, so it just advances after we get the right answers.
That's nice.
Hmm.
When did the culprit move the corpse?
Let's see here. Should rain, before it rained, before the power room.
Is there like a list of evidence we could look at?
Notes, part 1. Chemicals in the lab, does never stop rain. Recall log?
Because I remember that she noted something about Tama's bootsies, but I can't remember if it was that they were dry or wet. Are they creepy or wet?
Creepy. I'm gonna have to take the school with Ann. Do we want to fire up this recall quickly, just to see?
Oh yeah, I guess that's our closest thing to an evidence folder. Just
Yeah.
re-experiencing it.
Can we? Hello?
Does nothing happen when you click it?
No, it does not. Ooh.
Is it too late to recall?
Oh no. It might be.
Wait, recall log?
Recall log. That's where we were.
Ah,
Victim Tama Indo. Hello? Let me in. Let me in.
please?
Well, let me in here?
I guess this is more of an ontological mystery than a murder mystery.
Yeah. Okay, it won't let me in here either, so maybe we just can't when we're in this phase. Well, that's a little unfortunate.
Yeah, not very convenient.
So after it rained, she had her bootsies on anyways.
I think that her bootsies were dry?
Yeah. I think timeline-wise, it goes in reverse order. Power room repairs completed. Then it rained in the middle here.
Maybe before the rain.
Yeah. Okay.
Incorrect. The traces of moisture on Tama's body are very clear. It must have happened after the rain began, because Tama's body shows signs of exposure to the rain. It's like you didn't even examine the body. Like this, however, her feet are very clean. Remember that at least.
Right.
This could only have been because she'd already been dead by the time it started raining, so she could no longer walk with her own feet.
Did the culprit make an oversight? Everyone knows how frequently it's been raining recently. If she'd prepared rain protection, or if she'd smothered mud on Tama's shoes, she could have really confused us.
Just drag Tama's feet through the mud like you're teaching a toddler how to walk.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have made a big difference either way, because the important thing isn't if Indo was alive while she was getting rained on, it was whether she was even outside at all while it was raining. Indo had an umbrella with her, after all. Logically speaking, you wouldn't expect her to get so completely drenched. It's very strange that Indo was outside but not using her umbrella while it was raining. But the killer's lack of preparation against inclement weather is indeed strange. This suggests that it's possible that she didn't begin committing the murder during the rain, but rather that it suddenly began to rain during the process of the murder.
Ah, right. And the rain must have started while she was killing Tama. By the time the culprit moved Tama's body, the rain had already been falling for some time. Otherwise, if the rain had started falling while the corpse was being moved, the culprit could have just covered Tama with a tarp.
Yeah, she prepared a tarp beforehand and wrapped it on Indo before she began. Whether it rained or not, the bloodstains wouldn't have looked the way that they look now.
Well, based on the culprit's method, she couldn't have covered Tama's head with the tarp as well, since if she did that, the weapon would have jostled the tarp off when Tama's head was rotated to face all the way upwards anyways. Once the rain got on Tama's hair, you wouldn't be able to hide it anymore.
Yep. So, in conclusion, the culprit was the person who was still outside when it began raining.
Which would have been Asakura.
And once we've excluded all other possibilities, that leaves only her.
Asakura was the one who was looking for Tama.
Finally, whether or not an accomplice exists is no longer a meaningful question. Aw. We've already figured out the identity of the culprit, and the only person who could have possibly been her accomplice I've already eliminated as a possibility through recall.
Yono just ran off. I'm tired now. Good night. Are you really going to be able to convince the murderer using evidence you got through a recall, though? That time you revived me, it was Miho who helped you avoid disaster at the end, wasn't it?
I wouldn't know because we had enough stats to poison me up.
Oh, yeah.
This time it'll be different. The culprit won't actively bring up the idea of an accomplice on their own. If she did, she'd be implicating herself as the culprit.
Wonder if the abnormality we could have found in the, generator is something that would have set off, Asakura. So, we've solved all the problems up to this point, then.
But if the culprit is her, then I don't want the others to know yet. I want to have a talk with her alone.
That's dangerous, though. What if she kills you?
That's fine, I'll just tell her that Miss Sakura also knows who the culprit is.
Then she'll kill me. I still feel like we should go see her together, shouldn't we? We'll do it like that, what's that, confession meme. It's where it's like, what are they doing in the group chat? You got this, bro. going to see Asakura. What's Miss Sakura doing here? You've got this, Ron.
Ann would make a good hype man, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Normally I'd be ecstatic to go anywhere with Miss Sakura, of course, but this time, compared to the how, I'm really more curious about the culprit's why. Maybe it'll even help me restore some of my memories. I still don't want Miss Sakura to know about that yet. If we go together and we both get killed, then we're all going to be in real trouble.
All right,
It doesn't seem like the culprit has any incentive to kill people who find out since it's just a game.
We would think, yeah.
Yeah, it just seems kind of unfair. It's just Among Us, bro.
Yeah. We say, hey. Although, there's a reason why the structure is just emergency meeting. Discuss it. All right, then. Be careful, okay? Rather than go confront the imposter in the security room.
Don't worry, Miss Sakura. I told you that I'd never leave you again.
Ever again. Ever. Yeah. Hi, Tama.
Hi, Tama.
Oh, okay. We're here to see Tama. Ron stood at the side of the iron bed frame, looking at Tama's corpse. The body bag that she'd been held in had long since been disposed of, and now Tama was wearing a hospital gown that fit her well.
Looks like everyone got clothes tailored exactly to their own fit.
Then, Asakura pushed open the door and entered the morgue. She walked right past Ron and leaned onto the wall. Buki-san, calling me to come here alone. I don't suppose you're expecting me to carry a conversation with Tama all on my own.
I know who the culprit is.
And yet you only called me here. Ron looked at her and nodded. So, you think I'm the culprit then?
I'd rather not say yet. I'm afraid that Indo will wake up if I do, and there's some things I don't want her to hear.
The corners of Asakura's eyes drooped. Her sharp gaze made Ron worry that Asakura might actually decide to kill her. How kind of you. Though I don't particularly want her to revive either.
Ooh.
Yeah, here we go.
By the way, just so you know, Miss Sakura also knows the identity of the culprit.
Don't worry, I'm not going to do anything to you. What? Oh, okay.
Okay, well, no point in wasting more time. I'm going to begin describing the murderer's process now. First off, the complexity of this method means that it was clearly a premeditated murder. The nature of the murder meant the culprit was waiting for one specific circumstance when Tama Indo was alone. Yesterday, after Indo separated from me, she sent the culprit a message saying that she was going to visit the culprit.
I guess the key here is that Asakura knows well enough how Tama behaves. And when Tama sent that text message, I guess we saw both sides of Tama being Tama. I'm going to wait loyally by the power room for Asakura. And Asakura being like, yeah, if Tama was here, she'd just be waiting here. So Tama showing how she behaves, and Asakura showing that she is well aware of how Tama behaves, which would put them both alone together. Oh, sketch time. Come on, you can stop at the culprit.
Well.
Yeah. Come on, you can stop at the culprit thing. You're clearly gunning for me.
I haven't said any such thing yet. After the culprit received the text, she thought that was a valuable opportunity, so she met up with Indo at the power room. After meeting Indo, the culprit strangled her until she fainted.
Dead.
Oh, she put in a little more effort than the girl's bathroom sign.
Yeah.
If the culprit just needed time to get the murder weapon, she could have made preparations before Indo arrived.
Yeah, it's a very solid silhouette.
Since based on Indo's personality, she wouldn't leave the site until she'd met up with the culprit.
Ooh.
But the culprit still needed to use Indo to generate an alibi for herself. So, in order to prevent Indo from contacting the other students, just in case she managed to escape somehow, the killer locked Indo in the spare parts closet inside the generator room and locked it.
Ooh. Wee! Splat.
Afterwards, to generate an alibi and to obscure the exact time when Indo was ambushed, the culprit went to the pool to go find Yorino.
That was some Ghost Trick style 2D mechanics there. straight up dropped her in that. Oh, rotate.
And using the excuse that she needed someone to help her put the generator's lid back on, she brought Yorino back to the generator room with her.
Sudden perspective. Oh. Smooth transitions. Oh, careless of this supposed culprit. What if Tama had woken up and started making a ruckus in the spare cards closet? Wouldn't Yorino have overheard?
Are you really worried about that, Asakura?
So the spot on the shelves in the spare part closet that was disturbed, Tama was there. Angie.
I'll be continuing now. With Yorino's help, the two replaced the lid of the generator.
Thud.
After that, the culprit cleaned up her tools and headed to the dorms with Yorino to meet the other students.
Ooh.
Then she pretended she wanted to go find Indo and headed to the tool room to get the murder weapon and ropes. He then returned to the generator room, picked up the delirious Indo, and headed to the nearby grove of trees. There, she used the ropes to tie Indo to a tree she scouted out in advance. The following is how she tied the ropes, more or less.
Whoa.
Aww.
Oh, goodness.
After that, the killer wrapped herself in a tarp she prepared to prevent any blood from getting on her uniform.
Wrapped herself in the tarp. Oh. That's the tarp that was missing.
Ah. Clamping Indo's head with the pipe wrench, she rotated it from top to bottom. Once the wrench's angle was parallel with its starting position, she walked to the other side and began turning it from bottom to top.
Hey, how come you aren't drawing this part?
Because I don't want to draw it. We have an age rating, ostensibly.
Yeah.
And it's just the two of us, and between the two of us, we both know how it went down.
Yeah. How unprofessional.
I'm not a cop, sue me.
Yeah.
Heavy rain suddenly started falling while the culprit was still working. The culprit followed her plan and untied Indo from the tree and took her to the gymnasium to conceal the original scene of the crime.
You say, I know there's like actual court sketch artists and stuff who like draw portraits of people in court and whatnot, but how fun would it be if there was like court testimony sketch artists? Like a stenographer, but just in sketch form like this.
Hire on for it.
Yes.
After reaching the side entrance of the gym, the killer took off her muddy shoes, entered the gym, and placed Indo on the stage.
Placed Indo on the stage Monokuma style.
Then she took the tarp off herself, flipped it to the other side, and used it to clean any remaining traces inside the gym away.
How do you know such a tarp exists?
I've been inside the generator room closet. There was a pile of tarps inside there.
Bing!
There was dust all over and around the tarps everywhere, except for the tarp on top of the pile, which was completely clean. I didn't remember that detail.
Well, just in case you forgot. Get a little bleep, bleep, bleep.
That let me know that the topmost tarp was probably taken by the culprit. Furthermore, the walls and floor were cleaner than the other areas in the room. I suppose that after placing Indo in the room, the pattern of dust in the room had changed strangely, so the culprit cleaned it up.
Yeah, if memory serves me correctly, and I think it does, that was like the only thing of note we found when we were investigating that with Miss Sakura. Besides being in close proximity to Miss Sakura in the cramped spare part closet. Wow, you sure are a master detective.
After placing the corpse and cleaning up the evidence, the culprit used her phone to contact Yorino to tell her that Indo had disappeared. That's how the murder was carried out, more or less.
So let me guess. The premises on which you've based your reasoning are the presumed height of the culprit and the suspects were still outside while it was raining. What a sloppy job by the culprit. Well, you guessed right. The culprit was... No, wait, hold on.
Hold on. As long as I don't identify the culprit, even if the culprit admits it, Indo won't come back to life, will she?
Sorry. Ron Kubi keeps trying to bleed into Ron Ibuki there. That's my official excuse for occasionally reading over Ron. Hey, it's canon.
Absorbing her personality.
Yeah. Asakura raised one eyebrow. She clearly hadn't expected Ron to say something like that. No, she won't. Because it will technically count as you not actually knowing exactly who the suspect who fit your height criteria and who was outside during the rain was.
That's good then. Even if we arrived Indo now, it wouldn't solve the problem.
What are you trying to say? Asakura stood up straight. Even though there was some distance between the two of them, Ron still felt a sense of pressure. Ominous.
I thought that the killer had a close relationship with Indo.
Jojo Doom characters coming off of Asakura and posing in the corner. So what if the culprit was close with her? Do you think that the culprit would have refrained from doing such a thing to Tama just because they were close? First name? On the contrary, don't you think that the culprit would actually exploit it to disguise her own identity? But it was chosen entirely out of the hopes it'd make the investigation more difficult to solve. Asakura was speaking very quickly all of a sudden. Ron didn't even need to analyze her speech to tell that she was stressed.
I'd have liked to believe that too.
What are you hiding? What are you hiding, girl? Asakura clenched her fists tightly, but only for a moment before she let go, trying to keep herself as calm as possible.
But the truth is that the culprits did this out of hatred. She chose this method because she wanted Indo to suffer.
From my perspective, they only did it for the sake of the case itself. No matter who the victim was, the culprit would have done the same thing. Ron set her hand on the iron bed frame and took a step forward.
Yo. After Indo learned who the culprit was, she'd surely cooperate with the culprit as best as she could to ensure that her plan could go smoothly, right? And before all this, I also believe that were the culprit in the same situation as Indo, she'd also choose to cooperate with Indo. But the amount of suffering that the culprit's plan would inflict on Indo was just too horrifying. The culprit was someone very important to Indo. You could say that the culprit was the meaning of her life, and she had no doubt about this fact and was happy to live that way. So the culprit was to Indo as Miss Sakura is to me. Yes, I'm astonished that the culprit would choose to do such a thing to Indo.
So, according to you, whenever anybody decides to commit a murder and then cut the corpse up into parts after, that's all because they hate their classmates? Couldn't the culprit just impartially decide to snap Tama's neck? Is that so impossible?
Sure, it's possible, but Asakura, is that actually what you were thinking? Don't you think that the culprit might keep trying to use the same cruel method to kill Indo even after she revives? Just for fun? Even if the designated victim wasn't Indo, don't you think the culprit would keep finding excuses to kill her anyways, using the fact that she witnessed the crime to justify it?
Asakura narrowed her eyes and furrowed her brows. She stuck her hands into her jacket pockets. I don't see why we're discussing such a pointless topic. This is all intuition. If you like deduction so much, why don't you show me some proof that I hate Tama and force confession out of me then?
This is about interpersonal emotions, not something that can be explained entirely through logic. But
Ron looked down at the white cloth covering Tama Indo, then looked back up at Makoto Asakura.
Yorno once said you once decided to commit suicide after you drew both the culprit and victim cards.
Makoto Asakura's hands had balled themselves up into fists in her pockets. This time she didn't loosen them.
And it was Indo who reasoned out your process of committing suicide and revived you.
Oh. I forgot about that fact.
It's also why I think that Asakura probably killed herself in reality.
Right.
And I'm guessing she completely reasonably decided to blame herself for your choice to commit suicide. Even though you'd given up your life under the condition that you could be revived. But Indo thought that if she'd given you enough satisfaction, then you would have chosen to kill one of the other classmates rather than yourself.
Ooh.
And after that, her concern for you intensified and redoubled in magnitude, and because of this you grew tired of Indo and even began to hate her.
Asakura was suddenly standing over Ron, looming over Ron. Ron didn't even notice when she'd gotten so close. Asakura looked down, staring at Ron. And all of this, you intuited as well? Ron reached out and grabbed Asakura by her shirt collar. Damn, boss!
Now kiss.
Yeah.
And I intuited right, didn't I? What does Tama Indo mean to you?
Asakura grabbed Ron's arm by the wrist and moved it away from her shirt collar. Nothing, that's what. A total nuisance. Tama Indo forces me to keep on living. I couldn't find any reason to keep existing in this world, so I chose to leave, but she dragged me back anyways, against my will.
Oh.
And now I have to endure the pain of continued existence and be forced to accept the way she looks at me so enthusiastically, so I turned her head around so she would stop looking at me like that.
Oh, that's the reason.
Sure.
So you're blaming all of this on...
Suddenly, an insensate delirium came over Vaughn. It's a feeling she'd experienced once before.
Oh, now?
Oh, boy.
I have a feeling Ron's about to have a not very good time. My memories of Asakura are about to return, but what even was the trigger word? Asakura?
Ron's body swayed and she almost collapsed to the ground. Asakura, after a moment of hesitation, reached out and supported her.
Was it suicide? Asakura, did you...
Oh, you might have called this. Ron grabbed tightly to Makoto's arm. The storms of pain rolling through her mind told her that her guess was indeed correct.
Oh no, I was right. I hate when that happens.
You were right.
Oh, Asakura, you're already...
Her thoughts cut off there. Everything before Ron began to twist and distort before finally fading out into infinite darkness. You were right. Your brain is huge, and I'm sad.
I am so sad.
On January 17th, 2020, at 6:18 in the afternoon, a female third-year student from Tokyo Jogakan Senior High School, standing in the middle of Shibuya Crossing, used a 20-centimeter-long steel grocery knife to commit suicide by opening her own carotid artery.
Jesus.
Wow. At the time, the number of people who were crossing the street was in excess of 3,000 people. Countless cell phone cameras recorded the entire process of the girl's slow death from exsanguination.
Hang on, she did that in public?
Good lord. Ultimately, when paramedic personnel were finally able to reach the scene, the student had already perished. Recordings were shared all across the internet. Rumors about the deceased student became a hot topic for a time, and the personal details of the deceased, which were meant to be kept secret, became publicly available information. Oof.
Jeez.
Between the over-analysis of the media, the clickbait platforms which thrived on blood and spectacle, and the conversations on internet forums from idle bystanders, everyone speculated about her reasonings for committing suicide. And to those who knew her, her family, her classmates, and her friends, Makoto Asakura was, more or less, a perfect person. It was said that the motive of the suicidal was that life was nothing but despair and self-torture, but Makoto Asakura's life, as seen through others' eyes, could be described as nothing short of an idyllic existence. Everyone thought that Makoto Asakura's life was one worthy of continuation, yet she had actively chosen to abandon it.
Ain't that just how it is?
Yeah. You can... It can look perfectly fine, you can pass perfectly fine on the outside, but while on the inside you're just being torn up inside. You can be high functioning enough to pass in reality and still be just fucking going through
I wonder, did Ron and Asakura not actually meet in real life?
Big mask. They might not have. It literally might just be the public image of Asakura being put out there. This is another factor that comes down to rumors. Koizumi-sensei, Ron was surrounded by the rumors being thrown out there about her. And Asakura, obviously, unfortunately, went viral. The way that Makoto Asakura's values differed so much from the norm caused Ron Ibuki to perceive that the two of them shared a similar kind of isolation. Seeing this, Ron thinks she's just like me, for real.
Oh no!
As for Makoto Asakura herself, she'd been contemplating the decision to commit suicide for quite a long time. She struggled quite hard to find a reason not to die. So she asked others what the purpose of living was. Most of the answers she received were some variation on consumerist hedonism. Maybe setting some kind of lofty life goal for herself. Why should I keep living to... You gotta get a good job.
I can't eat Novelty cake if I'm not alive.
Yes. See that's a reason. That money? but she was unable to feel any meaning in any of them. She was lacking in any sort of religious or spiritual faith, and neither relied on, nor was relied on by anyone. Living for the sake of her family or her friends wasn't enough to justify her continuation. Makoto Asakura never expressed what she was really thinking deep down. There was no meaning in letting others know about her inner nihilism. Similarly, there was no meaning in pointing out the pointlessness of the actions of others, either. Why fish? Why fish?
Was it the living sashimi?
Oh no.
They wouldn't dare that in public, would they?
Oh my god, it's literally... Finally on that day, Makoto Asakura had been sent by her family to pick up a custom-made knife by some relatives in Shibuya, and while traveling through... Whoa. Sent by her family to pick up a custom-made knife. And while traveling through the Shibuya crossing, she happened to look up and see on the giant LED screens a live stream of some famous chef making sashimi.
It wasn't ikizukuri, was it?
Where were you? Oh, I forgot about the model of 10,000 humans. Where were you in here? God, that's... Oh. Anyways, hello, Red Ruins. Everyone's singing Soviet Union behaviors. That's terrifying. When the camera fixed itself upon the fish's head, the giant eye of the fish, blindly and unfocusedly, started staring out into space. Had an unexpectedly provocative effect on Asakura's heart, and so she took out the knife and cut her own neck.
God.
Ron felt like she and Asakura were traveling the same road. Asakura had simply reached the end sooner than Ron. Because of this, Ron decided to assume that the incompatibility between her values and that of the people around her was just an unchangeable constant, and redoubled her determination to sink deeper into Ann's embrace. Ann Sakura. Ann Sakura's existence was the source of Ron's certainty that Ron Ibuki would never take the same road as Makoto Asakura. I mean, it's a reason.
It's a real neato.
That was a lot. That sure was. Ron stared with wide eyes as she recovered from her delirium. She grasped the side of the iron bed and straightened herself shakily. Asakura watched her from the side without speaking.
Just like the situation with Koizumi-sensei. I already knew about Asakura and she's even already died?
That's a lot.
But she's not only just perfectly alive here, I even saw a lot of things in those memories that were things that only Asakura herself ought to know. Just who is it that's showing me these things? And with Asakura herself being here, these memories must be the truth, right? Just had a bit of headache. Everything's fine now. Please continue speaking. I'm normal.
I don't have anything more to say.
I think you should give yourself and Indo a chance. She can give you meaning if you want. You know, like me and Miss Sakura.
Right.
Is there even a point? Most of them have long since died already, haven't they?
Well, now Tama's words make a heck of a lot more sense. Tama's seen past. That's definitely where Tama was coming from. If those words were coming from having seen Asakura choose to commit suicide.
Transient has an ice cube.
Transient has an ice cube.
You say you hate the way she looks at you, but Indo's gaze can't be the same as that of a fish, right?
Ooh.
What am I even doing? There's no way that Asakura's destiny of suicide can be changed. It's like how it doesn't matter how much resolve Koizumi-sensei builds up for herself.
What? A fish? What fish? Also, the more positive things you say about Tama Indo, the less it makes me ever want to see her again. She's everything.
Asakura, never make eye contact with a fish. Promise me this.
Yes. She's everything that I wish I had. Tama Indo wallows in excitement and novelty every single day. She enjoys the pleasure of being alive every single day. And she even has the temerity to try and share these things with me. And she's even somehow gotten herself a meaning of life off of me. Asakura spoke faster and faster, and her breathing became more and more rapid. Even after I killed myself so I could escape her torment, she still brought me back to life.
She just wants to share the things that make her happy to make you happy as well, doesn't she?
I suppose there was a certain period where I was contemplating how to make Tama Indo die as painfully as possible. In that sense, I suppose I found a life goal for a while. Look, I know how all of you perceive Tama Indo, but in mine, every single move and action she makes is filled with nothing but absolute malevolence toward me.
Was she trying to find a way to make Tama hate her, you reckon? Have you tried telling her these things?
In that self-destructive sense of, I don't deserve these fucking these nice things, this life-meaning shit you're trying to force upon me, Tama, with your puppy dog, cute hair buns and cute boots, your cute eyes. I don't deserve that shit, so I'm gonna kill you as painfully as possible so you hate my guts and let me die.
It would be so much easier if she were unloved.
Truth. The pain of finding something to live for after having nothing and being full of suicidal ideation for so bloody long. The pain of finding hope is scary. Do you think Tama would understand my feelings?
I mean, she's a grandma, so I think so. Not the point. Look, if you're sick of breathing and want to take a hike, I'm not going to stop you, but I'm not just going to let you drag Indo down with you. She is adorable. Have you seen her?
Yes. Just like near Miss Sakura tier. Asakura didn't answer Ron. Also, damn, that was cold, Ron.
I heard you have vented yourself on Indo. When she comes back, have a proper conversation with her, alright? At least apologize to her. I'm sure she'll take your frustration seriously. What would the point be, even if she does take them seriously? The two of them are already dead. There's no point to their relationship, no matter how much it improves.
Asakura laid her hands...
Unless maybe Tama is 112 years old in reality?
Ooh. Not impossible. Asakura laid her hands on the edge of the steel frame of the bed and looked at Tama Indo's corpse. It was the first time she'd looked directly at Tama since Ron had called her to the morgue. I doubt it'll go the way you want it to. You know what Tama's gonna say to me as soon as she wakes up?
What?
Asakura walked toward the door of the morgue and pushed it open. Why don't you find out in my stead?
Alright then. I claim that the killer of Tama Indo was Makoto Asakura.
I confess to being the culprit. Your reasoning was accurate. Finishing that sentence, Makoto Asakura closed the door and left the morgue. But when the sound of the door slamming shut faded away, the iron bed began shaking and clanking. Ron turned to see that Tama's neck was gradually returning to its correct angle, and the damage to it quickly repaired itself.
Do you think it spinned around again 540 degrees?
Oh gosh. Okay. Full-on Exorcist style. Just
you spin my head round, baby, right round.
Like a record, baby. Right round, round, round. Here we go. Thankfully, there's not sound effects this time. Thankfully, there's not sound effects. It was like watching the steel cables of a suspension bridge rearrange themselves in parallel, though the speed of the regeneration didn't seem as quick as with Ann's. Ron could see the other organs slowly regenerating as well behind the muscles.
Ah.
Suddenly, Tama opened her eyes. Though the wounds on her neck were far from being fully repaired, her consciousness had been restored before her wounds had, even while the regeneration was
didn't know that could happen.
That's terrifying. I hate it. Even while the regeneration was still underway, tears flowed from Tama's eyes. She opened her mouth and tried to speak but couldn't. Her vocal cords were still in the process of regrowing themselves.
Has this happened before?
Good question. I hope not. God, what if that happened in the big dismemberment case?
Man.
Terrifying. Ron quickly dashed her to her side, and Tama reached out to grab onto Ron, but the attempted movement was too much for her. She fell off the bed to the floor instead. Oh, Jesus. Ron hugged her,
Oh,
and Tama clung tightly to Ron's back as her neck continued regenerating. It was then that her vocal cords finally returned to normal. Tama Indo's screams filled the entire morgue, giving a hint of the pain she'd suffered before she died. And her wounds, which were now exposed to the air after her awakening, brought her a new flavor of suffering unlike any she'd ever experienced before. Oh, good lord.
Asakura had better properly apologize to Indo later.
He's got a lot to apologize for. Ron could hear the sound of flesh regrowing right next to her ears. Tama finally stopped screaming and began to take deep, heaving breaths. Her grasp on Ron's back relaxed slightly, but she still apparently had no intentions of letting go.
Reckon she's gonna ask if Asakura-san is okay?
Yeah.
No, it's okay. You can hold on to me.
Tama was more than willing to accept Ron's invitation, and her fingers clutched at Ron with redoubled force. After a long, long time, the morgue finally fell silent, leaving only Tama's quiet breathing. Although it would be a legit miracle if this was the first unhealthy relationship to resolve itself.
Does it still hurt?
Tama shook her head, releasing her grip on Ron and leaning back slightly. Ron didn't immediately let her go and continued to hold Tama in her lap.
It's much better. Thank you, Ibuki-san.
Spoke Tama Indu with pale, white lips.
Where's Asakura-san? You pointed her out as the culprit here, didn't you? She left. Oh no, she must be mad at me. I must go apologize to her quickly.
Darling, oh no. Tama immediately began struggling in Ron's lap, trying to stand up, but Ron pushed her right back down.
What do you mean apologize? The way Asakura treated you, she should be the one apologizing to you. Absolutely not. Asakura-san can do anything she likes to me, but when she was twisting my head, I'm sure I must have made an unsightly expression and even gotten my blood on Asakura-san's face.
Never mind, this went in the opposite direction. This has gotten worse. Tama was starting to cry again. She hadn't even seemed this tense, even when her wounds were regenerating.
Something wrong with her for real.
There's also the horrid possibility that, God, she really does feel this way, doesn't she? Or unless she's like falling back into this, something was just drilled into her over years with her previous master.
Oh, God. Asakura-san must be feeling quite unwell. I have to go and apologize quickly to her. Oh, absolutely not. Don't you dare. No wonder Asakura doesn't want to see Indo's face. If Indo showed up and immediately started apologizing to Asakura, I bet she'd start coughing up blood from sheer infuriation. Look, if you apologize, you're just going to make Asakura miserable. What you need to do right now is go up to her, point your finger at her face, and start screaming at her, "How could you do something like that to me?" Something like that. And maybe ignore her for a few days. That'll probably cheer Asakura up.
So, Tama, here's this thing called Biga Tsundere. We're gonna have you practice that.
I don't get it. Just take my word for it. Asakura told me that was what she wanted while you were dead. She wanted you to do those things. It's an indirect order.
Casual manipulation. Good. Tama seemed somewhat confused. She blinked her huge eyes as her lips finally began to regain color.
Did Asakura-san really say that?
Oh, she said a lot worse, but this is for the best. Tama nodded her head with as much confidence as she could.
Very well, I understand. Since it's something that Asakura-san told me to do, then I'll do as she says.
Oh, sweetheart. Oh, God. It's... Tama, please. Tama picked herself off the ground and dusted off her hospital gown.
And if after I say that Asakura-san gets mad at me, then, I shouldn't say just what I'll do to you, Ibuki-san.
Oh no.
No, you know you're scaring me.
Total dissection.
Trust me, you don't think Asakura would be such a petty person, right?
Right? She'd never.
Problems not with Asakura-san, but with me, though. Do I really have the right to do something like scream at Asakura-san?
You are incorrect, Tama, but
It's because you're like this that Asakura hopes you can change yourself. Surely you understand as well, having an inferiority complex isn't a good thing.
Tama jumped in shock at Ron's words. It had been obvious to everybody, after all. Even if Tama had thought she'd been doing a good job of hiding it.
Okay, I understand. I'll try then.
Do your best, Tama. Please. Please. Ron sat on the floor
Please.
and sighed in relief, feeling incredibly exhausted.
That was exhausting. I'm feeling incredibly exhausted. Saying all that chicken soup for the soul inspirational cliche stuff. Even though I just did my best to copy how Miss Sakura used to speak when she was trying to comfort me. It's just not my style, and I never want to have to say something like that again. At least the case itself was decently fun. Fun! Made me think a bit. I feel pretty accomplished for having solved it.
Decently fun, she says, shoving down all the living sushi stuff that she just remembered. And the whole inferiority complex problems we are dealing with here.
God, I love to be normal.
Yeah. We're so normal. I should go report back to Miss Sakura now. And get her to praise me. Ron stood up as she mentally reviewed the details of the case one last time. At the same time, the door to the morgue creaked open. It's over?
Miss Sakura, what are you doing here?
Her face when Miss Sakura shows up. Oh.
Wow.
I was really worried about you, so I've been waiting outside the whole time.
Miss Sakura.
Miss Sakura was worried about me.
I love you so much, Miss Sakura.
We'll never tire of saying it. For real.
So, you heard everything I said to Asakura then?
Yes. You do have a way with words, Van.
I was just trying to imagine what the past you would have said in the same situation.
Is that so? That really is quite different from what I'd have said then. Makoto and Tama's relationship has turned out to be more complex than meets the eye. I think your choice was correct. Maybe it'll help the two of them out.
Lying is lit.
The image of Asakura's suicide flashed before Valen's eyes again. She found herself sinking into uncertainty again. Was there really any meaning in these things she was doing?
You know what?
Looking at Ann, Ron suddenly felt that she had no need for uncertainty anymore. All she needed to do was what she did before and tell Ann Sakura whenever she was faced with any kind of problem. She'd surely be able to find a solution to anything.
Miss Sakura, there's something I want to tell you.
Ooh, we're gonna talk about it. Do you remember the fish suicide? The fish suicide. Oh. Gumpy.
I think I like her more now.
Yes, correct. Gumpy. Let's see how her profile changed.
New portrait?
Let's see. Ooh, hello. Singing dramatically, serve out nature. Makoto Asakura's parents invested a large amount of money into the Tokyo Jogakan, with the intention of making it into a high school to rival that of the Ochabi Institute. Makoto Asakura, who was studying in high school at the same time, also attracted everyone's attention and answered all the expectations laid upon her with a demeanor of apparent perfection. For this reason, her suicide came as a completely inexplicable surprise to all. Makoto Asakura's story ultimately became endlessly exaggerated in the retelling, to birth the urban legend known as the Philosopher of Despair. Terrifying. My life, like Asakura's, has been nothing more than a haphazard pile of jigsaw pieces that didn't fit together with each other. Countless meaningless experiences and ideas filled up our field of vision, till in the end she was overwhelmed and chose suicide. Would I have done the same thing if I didn't have Miss Sakura? Perhaps I just wouldn't have the courage to face my own death.
Oh.
That's a lot to take. That's...
It sounds like they really did never meet in person, but she heard about her on the news and really resonated.
Yeah. She's just like me, for real, for real.
Worried about her for real.
Worried about her, for real. Look at the little emo. Damn, did she become hotter, even hotter while I wasn't looking? True though.
Yeah.
Very true.
I have a type.
After Ron finished telling Ann about Ron's memories of Koizumi and Asakura, the two of them returned to the dorms, where the other students had already gathered in anticipation of lunch. Ron took the opportunity to tell the others about the truth of the case as well. Oh, so that's why they did come down to eat with us. I bet you they're having an argument in their room right now.
Chrono-san, please don't joke about something like that right now.
Sai shrugged.
I was quite shocked when I saw Indo-san wandering to the dorm this morning. The case was solved before I could even make heads or tails of it. That's Ibuki-san for you, I guess.
You did your best, Koizumi. I know you said no joking, but this is actually kind of serious, isn't it? What if we check out on Makoto's room later and it turns out that Tama's been corpseified again? That'd be the worst.
No, she can't miss another meal.
Yeah. She needs good food and head pats.
Do you think when they revive they're hungry?
Ooh. Definitely. I'd imagine it takes a lot of energy to just regenerate like that. As soon as Aya finished speaking, Miho gave her a punch to the back of the head. Bonk. But judging from everyone's expressions, they had the same concerns as well, more or less. You know what? I'm gonna go check up on them. You all keep enjoying the food. Sai stood up and left the dining room and headed up to the second floor.
Oh no, Asakura will listen to Indo properly, right? She wanted Indo to shout at her, didn't she? Don't tell me I messed up, did I? I don't want to get vivisected by Tama Indo.
Please.
She'll do it too.
Before long, Sai came back down the stairs with a faint grin and with Asakura in tow. Relax, they're having plenty of fun. Indo needs to rest upstairs for a bit, so I just brought her down for now. Yeah, I wasn't done talking to her yet. Whatever. At the sight of Asakura's transformation, Ron thought she ought to open her mouth and say something, but Asakura ignored her and sat down straight at the table.
I love to be bisexual. I guess I'll catch her later.
Ron let out a breath and lowered her head to start eating. But at that moment, Miho slid her chair over to Ron and pressed her mouth against Ron's ear. Whoa!
Ibuki-san, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? You're being quite mysterious. ASMR?
Miho lowered her head.
Tonight I'm going to be switching bedrooms with Yorino-san. Oh.
What?
Room swap? You? But doesn't that mean...
You're getting away from Aya briefly? Miho turned her head aside, her eyes focusing on who knew where, and continued speaking.
That's right. It means we'll be sleeping in the same room tonight.
Oh, okay. Chapter 1 complete. Chance to increase one of your stats has been acquired. Investigation 6, Charisma 6, Alacrity 4. We
missed out on a little bit because of our lack of investigation, but... Our alacrity is still pretty low. What do you think?
We pick up any more... We still only have 2 10 points. Maybe we do take the alacrity. And we still have 2 temp points to play around with. Which hopefully won't come into play too much. I vote alacrity. What do you think? Do we take it?
Yeah.
Attribute improvement complete. 6, 6, 5.
We're so close to a funny number.
Yeah.
Will you at least tell me why you want to swap rooms with Yorino first? I got into a fight with Aya.
Uh-oh. Mio took a seat and gestured at Ron to sit down as well.
Looks like she has a lot to talk about. Maybe it has something to do with what I saw in the kitchen a few days ago?
Oh.
I sure couldn't tell you two had a fight. Well, it isn't even the first time we've had an argument like this. I got into a big fight with her around when we graduated from middle school. Oh my god, they were childhood friends.
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm very curious to see how they tie to Ron, considering they both actively know each other outside of here.
Did they also know each other in reality?
Yeah.
The argument was so bad I almost decided I never want to see her again.
Ooh.
It was all Aya's fault, and so I was really mad with her, to the point that I decided to go to a different high school from her and terminate our relationship for good.
Oh, damn. Divorced.
This sounds serious. What even is this? Have I become Take's private relationship advisor now? Before this, I thought that maybe our relationship would improve, since we ultimately wound up attending the same high school anyways. But whenever romance has come up in our recent conversations, it always reminds me how she hasn't changed at all.
A fair point. Ron raises this.
I thought that Miho was maybe one of her doctors in reality, but maybe they were actually classmates?
Yeah.
If she was actual classmates with one of them and then heard about the other.
Right, that's just sort of a... Even if it was like school nurse related thing, just venting about childhood friend / lover who just didn't change whatsoever.
And they were roommates.
Ron sitting here venting about being her personal relationship counselor, and Miho just looks her in the eye and said, "I've seen you naked. You will hear me out."
Geez, we really are just heading towards Gossip Town now, aren't we? Maybe I can try and use this opportunity to ask some important questions then. So, how come you and Toyama wound up in the same high school anyways? Well, nothing particular or special. My parents recommended this place to me, and Aya's family did the same for her. I thought this was a very strange place at first, but now I found that my classmates are all quite amicable, and that the educational system is quite distinctive. So I'd say pretty nice.
The murder is some pretty interesting hands-on experience, too.
Yeah, very distinctive.
Yeah.
Is it? You can't even be certain if you'll be able to properly participate in the college entrance examinations if you stay here?
It's the... my thought was if... I don't know if it's even a thing in the Japanese college system, but I thought was, it'd make a hell of a college admission essay, personal experience essay. Talking about all this. Miho blinked her eyes.
That's a time when you'd had to really work around a problem.
You see, it all started when I found a dead body in a snowman. And then it got worse. Miho blinked her eyes as if she hadn't expected that their conversation would swerve onto this topic.
Well, that's not a problem. We've all got student IDs, so we can go to the city to take the exam when the time comes.
Wait, we got student IDs?
Explain how. Been so long since I've asked a question like that, I almost forgot how the answers they give in response are only barely coherent. Guess there's little meaning in asking them how they got here at this point.
Yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it?
Ever since I recovered my memories of Asakura and Koizumi-sensei, it's become obvious they did not arrive here through any remotely conventional means. There's probably no use in wondering about it.
Yeah, the origins of this place are by no means mundane.
I wonder if she's just willfully ignoring the very possible reasoning that they all come from her subconscious.
True.
So, why exactly did you have an argument with Toyama then? Honestly, I don't have much interest in their relationship issues. The two of them aren't like Asakura and Indo. Even if they had a fight, these two are the type who would probably make up overnight anyways.
Or make out overnight.
Making up with their bodies.
Yes.
At the least, I can't imagine Toyama giving Take the cold shoulder.
I think it would be the reverse. And then Toyama would,
Tsundere.
Baka.
I don't want to say.
Baka. That response made the corners of Ron's eyes twitch in irritation.
If I don't tell you why we had the fight, are you not going to let me stay in your room? I don't care that much.
Miho smiled, put her hands on her thighs, and leaned forward slightly.
It's because I think I and Yorino got along well. So,
Oh no! Are you jelly? Oh no!
That's so cute. You call that an argument? Seems to me that you're still just looking out for Toyama.
The phone in Miho's pocket lightly vibrated, and she unlocked it and took a look.
It's a message from Yorino-san. She said that Tom has gone downstairs now. You should go down and pick lots again, too.
Oh no, too soon.
Right, I almost forgot that was the whole thing.
Means we get to pick lots again. Ron and Miho headed downstairs together. The others had already gathered in the dining room. The cards used for picking lots already placed on the dinner table as well.
Can we save to see if it's possible to make Ron the culprit?
Ooh, yes. Tama's eyes were puffy and red, and she was sniffling a little, but she still stood next to Asakura and held onto one of Asakura's sleeves with her tiny hands. Oh. Seeing that, Ron relaxed a bit.
I hope you're doing better.
Yeah.
Looks like Indo will be fine. Asakura's still looking like she couldn't give a heck either way.
Ron took her place next to Ann and took her arm too, as though she and Tama were in a hand-holding contest.
Alright then, let's begin drawing the lots.
Let's take a safety save here. Leave this here, my main save.
Yeah.
Lot music. Alright.
Oh.
Is this the culprit draw? Ron took a card. Its underside wasn't painted red. No problems
No problems here.
Alright. We're gonna get culprit.
Yes, kill.
Yes, kill. Alright, we picked middle. Get the top two. Was not painted red. No red. We've done top three. I'll just go left to right. No red.
I wonder if these are actually consistently determined or if it's just RNG.
No red. I feel like there's got to be a chapter at some point where we draw the red card. It'd be really interesting if there was, like, interchangeable, like, plot progressions based on... Might have picked that one already. Based on who draws victim.
Or an early ending if we make Ron murder.
Ooh. No red. One more choice. No red.
Huh.
No problems here. Oh.
Next up is the victim. Are we just gonna say it's impossible then?
I think so. Sayonara. Yeah.
Yorino better not get killed. Who'll do the cooking if she dies? Oh, guess you better solve it fast then.
Ah. Suddenly the card in Aya's hand slipped out and fell to the table, making a crisp smack that drew everyone's attention. It landed face up. Miho Take was written on it. Uh-oh.
Okay, you did that on purpose.
No. My hands just twitched. Must have just practiced guitar too much recently. Aya laughed awkwardly. Miho didn't particularly react, though. Rather, she simply reached out and stacked Aya's card on top of her own. Let's do a redraw, then.
Let's do a redraw, then.
Oops, sorry.
So cold.
So cold. Everyone else also handed their cards to Miho for her to reshuffle.
Toyama's play just made the situation a lot more convoluted. If Toyama's the culprit, then it's possible she intentionally drew the card because she didn't want to kill Take. Aw.
Which, understandable and kind of sweet.
Does this mean that Take will be more likely to be safe after the redraw? But what if Toyama draws Take a second time? Or if we flip that around, if Take dies, does that mean Toyama's probably not the culprit? We're already metagaming.
Ooh. After the cards were shuffled, Ron drew a new card. This time she drew Tama. Thank goodness.
The last case really took a lot out of Indo. She deserves some rest.
She deserves good things. No pain.
Anyway, there's no point in thinking about this. Let's wait until someone turns up dead first. After all, it's not like I'm gonna be the victim.
Right? Never happen.
Alright then, the drawing's concluded. Everyone may now enjoy free time for the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you, Miho-kuma.
Then things go blank for Ron, and next thing she knows, it's been a month later.
Miss Sakura, did you solve my murder? Welcome back, Welcome back, Ron. After Miho spoke, Asakura turned and went upstairs. Tama quickly followed her. Ooh.
We should visit Asakura when I've got the time, later. I'm curious what she and Ino have been talking to each other about.
Recall point. Alright, who do we got? Ooh.
Feels like there's a lot of things that need to be done.
Hirosisai, Asakura, Hinata, Tama. Ooh. We got lots to see here. Do we want to go see Asakura immediately?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. There she is. Gumpy.
I have perfect taste in women. Just you?
I support you. Ron opened the door, but Tama was nowhere to be seen. Only Asakura was in the room, and she was sitting in a chair with one leg crossed over the other. She loosened her jacket and even unbuttoned the uppermost few buttons of her shirt. Uh-oh. Her hairpin had vanished to an unknown location. Oh, so you're here for Indo, Ron. And here I'd thought you'd come to visit me.
It's unbelievable how different you look. Now there's two Yorinos running around the school, bleh. Rude.
What? Is that not okay?
It's actually pretty nice.
Indo's actually pretty cool. Yono's actually pretty cool. Ron sat down on the opposite side of the desk as Asakura.
She didn't expect this would actually suit her more either, huh? Maybe if someone helped her change like this before, then Asakura wouldn't have killed herself.
This is the true Makoto Asakura. The Asakura we'd seen up to this point is just the public face masking Asakura.
I like this pessimist a lot more.
Yeah.
So, was it Indo who helped her?
Hey, did you say something to Indo after she came back to life?
Sure, I told her to yell at you for a while.
Asakura rested a finger on her chin and grinned cheerfully. She did try her best to berate me, but mostly she was crying so hard I couldn't even understand what she was saying.
Really? Looks to me like you've taken both her words and her tears to heart.
Looking like a biker girl. Oh, yes.
Yes!
Asakura didn't correct Ron. She shrugged and continued. After this, I'm probably going to adjust the way I interact with her as well. There won't be a need to be so close with her, the way things were before.
What do you mean, no need to be so close?
Don't panic. I just meant relative to before. Asakura grinned, pulling her legs off the table and leaning forward, letting her head rest in one hand. Suppose you thought I was Indo's master before, right? From now on, who knows? Maybe she'll be my master. Do it.
She was just tired of topping this whole time?
Understandable.
You two not know how to fool around in any other way?
Asakura's attitude had convinced Ron that the relationship between her and Tama would only get better from then on. In a way, that was much more normal compared to how it used to be.
I think it's too late for anyone here to become normal.
At this point, any improvement in normalcy is very relative. Very relative.
So, where's Indo?
Library.
She went all by herself? Won't your master be sad that she didn't bring you along?
I see you're enjoying yourself at my expense, too. Huh. She went on her own. Looks like she's found a project she wants to do even without me there to fuss over her. She seems quite invested in it.
That's nice to hear.
How's that for? Ron stood up and pushed the chair back where it came from.
Looks like you two's issues have been resolved, so I'll be going.
Ron, thank you for getting Indo to say those things to me. It's made me feel a bit better, at least.
Really?
Asakura's straightforward attitude made Ron want to say something else to tease her a bit more, but...
It's already pointless anyway.
What?
Nothing. I'm out, see you around.
Don't mind me, stay away from fish, you know how it goes. When Ron reached the door, she felt Asakura grab her by the wrist.
So forceful!
I can't help you with Sakura's memory loss issues, but anything else, such as... Asakura paused, unsure whether she should continue. Her eyes flitted from the floor to the ceiling, then eventually settled back on Ron. I don't really know what I can help you with, but if you need help with anything, come find me.
That's so sweet of her!
Wow. Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that. That's...
She's thankful in her own way.
Yeah. I love that. Ron remembered how, the first time they'd met, Asakura had said almost the exact same thing to Ron.
This time you sound a lot more sincere.
Don't tease me.
I gotta...
Little grin. Grinning, Asakura let go of Ron's wrist.
Trust me, when I need your help, I won't hesitate to ask. See you later.
Yeah. As Ron departed Asakura's room, she noticed that the door next to the next room over was only halfway closed.
Huh. That's Toyama and Take's room, isn't it?
Ron approached the door, and through the crack of the door saw that Miho Take was fussing about with something in the room. What are you up to?
Take, what brought you back here? Ah, Ibuki-san. I was organizing some of my things to bring with me.
I'm officially moving, completely and totally.
I won't be back. This close, if you want to use anything, you might as well just come back to your room to get them.
I'm taking my things I'm taking all my stuff in the divorce.
I don't want to run into Aya. If you want to find her, head to the music room. She's definitely there. I know. You want me to go find her, don't you?
So tsundere.
Will we?
Do we want to? I love Sai, but I feel like we should check on Tama as well.
Yeah, she probably feels really bad about yelling.
Yeah. And hopefully she won't vivisect us. I think it went well though, so I think we are spared. So what do we say? Tama and Aya then?
Yeah.
Go check out
Hopefully no vivisection.
Yes. Tama, how you doing? How you doing, girl? Tama!
Aw, she looks the same.
Yeah.
Indo.
A handful of books were stacked neatly atop one of the library's tables. Tama Indo had been engrossed in one of them. When she heard the sound of Ron's voice, she immediately raised her head, a smile filling her face.
We get to live another day.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not interrupting you? Oh, no, Ibuki-san. I was just about to take a break. It's the first time I've seen you in the library by yourself.
Ron sat down next to Tama and saw that she had opened a notebook in front of herself and seemed to be writing something in it.
Yeah, this must be what Asakura meant by Indo's new project.
Killing you even better this time.
I feel like I've realized many things since I talked to Asakura-san.
Ah.
I used to think that following Asakura-san around everywhere would be the best for her, but now I've come to understand that maybe the best thing for us is to spend time by ourselves, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now you can't suffocate your child.
Boundaries are good.
I mean, I don't think that's the real issue. Asakura would like nothing more than to swallow the two of you up all nice and tight together in the same blanket each night, right? In a safer work way?
In a... well, it depends.
Is that so?
For Twitch purposes, yes. Tama blinked her big eyes again.
I do sleep together with Asakura-san frequently. Asakura, you are an actual criminal. So, you think that spending some time apart from her might result in a change to your relationship? That's right. Plus, I want to write down some things to show Asakura-san. I have a lot of things I want to tell her.
Oh, all right.
Oh, okay. So long as I can confirm you're not going to do anything to me. Even if you can't be as close with Asakura as you used to be before, I still think that everything worked out for the better in the end.
Am I spared from your wrath?
At least now Asakura is willing to speak her true feelings to you now. Only from now on, the relationship between you two can start to make proper progress.
Ron felt like she was talking too much, so she reached out and gave Indo's hairbun a poke to try and alleviate the awkwardness.
Oh, wow.
Aww.
I understand, Ibuki-san. Thank you. No need to thank me. After all...
Tama cocked her head in confusion, waiting for Ron to finish speaking. cocked her head in confusion, dog style. Ron thought to herself about her memories of Asakura and her knowledge of the original time period from which Indo hailed, and decided to give up the cliché she was about to speak, choosing something else instead.
After all, these are all choices you made for yourselves.
Oh. Happy for her.
Ah.
Aya time. Let's go check on the ex-wife. Miho's ex-wife. As soon as Ron opened the door of the music room, Aya, who had been sitting on the piano bench, spoke up. Oh, my romantic nemesis has appeared.
Come on, Take was the one who made the request to swap bedrooms with Yorino.
Aya put down her guitar and replied with a grin. I know, I'm just joking. Just joshing you. Unless. Then, pursuing her lips, she made a hesitant inquiry. Miho, did she say anything? Ah.
I don't know, I don't speak tsundere.
Yeah.
Looks like Toyama really wants to make up with Take. More than Take herself does. She told me that you two originally weren't supposed to attend the same high school, but she didn't explain why you had your most recent fight exactly. Looks like you two had a serious argument?
Oh, for sure, it was mega serious. It was all Miho's fault, you know?
The kind of argument where both sides think it's the other one's fault. Incredibly commonplace and incredibly frustrating structure for domestic drama. Me and Miss Sakura could never.
We'd never. Yeah, exactly. Right after Aya made her complaint against Miho, though, her expression immediately softened. But the only reason I'm even daring to say something like that is because we're attending the same school. If we actually had to split up for 3 years, there's no way I would have been able to endure it.
Interesting.
I'd probably go with my tail between my legs to Miho and pitifully ask for her forgiveness. In a day or two. She's not like me, though. Miho excels at everything. Even without me, she can manage her emotions all by herself and live her own life perfectly well. So, if she said she was never going to talk to me again, she'd actually be capable of carrying through with a threat. There's no way I could bear it, though. Imagining the whole subconscious progression of subjecting Ron Ibuki to the implosion of several codependent relationships for her own personal growth.
Oh no! I understand how you feel. If Miss Sakura was angry at me, I'd do everything I could to make up with her as well.
like the whole porridge feeding incident this morning. I apologize for making things awkward, and we'll never speak of this again.
Oh, I've never had an argument with Miss Sakura before.
See, she would never. Are you here to just show off, Ron-chan?
I came here to laugh at you.
Yes. Ha, 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 ha. Mateless. Ron sat down on the piano bench next to Aya and patted her shoulders.
So Toyama's the disadvantaged side of this relationship, then. Make me sympathetic to her plight. So, just what was the cause of your argument anyway? If you want to compare Take with Miss Sakura, then I'm on your side here. Why don't you tell me about it? Why don't you tell me about it?
No way. Mia was way smarter than me, but she didn't tell you why we fought either, right? So if she didn't tell you, I can't tell you either. She surely has her own reasons for it.
But I guess if I were in her shoes, I might do the same. Holding Miss Sakura's wants is paramount no matter when or where. Oh, okay, but what are you going to do about it then? Just let it play out on its own?
It was I who started to pat Ron's shoulders this time. That's a problem for me and Miho. I'm sure you've got lots of other things to worry about, don't you, Ron-chan? Compared to us, your own problems are more important.
You're absolutely correct. I don't need to concern myself with their relationship issues. I should concentrate all my efforts on Miss Sakura's situation.
If we want to deal with this petty drama, we need to get Miss Sakura's memories back.
But helping them resolve this situation might very well allow me to unlock my memories pertaining to the two of them, just like with Asakura.
What's up with you now? Ron shook her head and got up, preparing to leave the music room.
All I can do is let nature take its course. Both of them are resisting outside interventions, and even if I wanted to do something to help, I don't even have a point of entry to the problem.
She stood by the dorm and waved goodbye to Aya, who answered her with a strum of her guitar. Boom.
Miss Sakura's here too. Let's discuss it with her before I make any decisions.
Ron strolled idly through the school courtyard as she sent a text to Ann with her phone. The phone auto-completed with Ann after she input the character for Sakura, and the screen presented her with a prompt to call the Sakura Ann in her contact list. Just as Ron was about to press the call button, a text message appeared at the top of the screen. Ron? Oh. Koizumi and Makoto? Eh? Ron, do you have time?
Do we remember?
Oh. Come to the observation deck of the dorm. I want to talk to you about the situation with Koizumi and Makoto. So that's right, we did tell her about this, didn't we? Ron immediately sent Ann back an affirmative response.
Miss Sakura truly understands my soul in the way that only a soulmate can. Let's go see her immediately.
So real. Miss Sakura. Ron?
Miss Sakura!
Ron did what she always did when she saw Ann. She quickly stepped up to her and embraced her before taking her hand.
Where have you been this afternoon? I haven't seen you around campus at all.
I was thinking about the things you told me. Ann took Ron and led her to the viewing deck's bench, where they sat down together.
Miss Sakura's being so proactive today.
What you told me about those memories, I believe they're all real. Perhaps the others are all similarly tied to you in some nebulous way. And as only the two of us seem to be suffering from amnesia, perhaps I can regain my memories by doing what you've been doing. Ron held her hand tightly and rubbed her fingers repeatedly. She hesitated about whether to speak or not.
But Miss Sakura, the two of us differ significantly as well. The memories I'm missing all seem to be directly related to the other students here. Whereas you've forgotten practically everything, right, Miss Sakura? I feel like it'd be very difficult to regain all your memories just through the people currently here.
Ann, noticing that Ron's hands were trembling slightly, interwove her own fingers with Ron's, to still them. It's no matter. I was just thinking that I'd give it my best try, since you're really hopeful about me recovering my memories. If it doesn't work, we can try something else.
Sakura, I know that. No, never mind.
Miss
Sakura's been expressing with various degrees of subtlety that she doesn't want to recover her memories, since for the current Miss Sakura, such a thing would be more or less equivalent to dying, huh? There's something else important, though. The process by which I've been recovering memories is clearly not conventional. That's why I think it's very likely that there's some conscious entity that's caused me to lose my memories, and that I recovered those memories by meeting certain conditions relating to those memories.
Even if it's less conditions and more just like... I don't know if it's like specific conditions, or it feels more like resonating with them. Hitting that emotional high point that connects with the specific memories. Like Koizumi resolving to tell her parents she wants to do something else. And then obviously Asakura discussing the suicide and her ideation and all that. So something conscious. So you're saying that a memory loss might have been caused by someone?
Hang on, I've been asking the question of if Sakura-an is alive in real life, but is Ron alive in reality? The thing that brought us here could also very well be that conscious entity that's caused our memory loss. I guess if she was dead in reality, then Ron Ikubi wouldn't want her to escape this pocket realm, would she?
Right. Unless that whole second discussion they were having with the eyeball friend made it feel like, what was that all about? The great rain still going on outside of this space.
Yeah, so humanity doesn't need to worry as long as it's raining.
Right. Which means that possibly feels like there's the large scale possibility of something's actually going on out there, real bad. Small scale possibility that
like the Great Flood?
Yeah. Small scale possibility of that this is some kind of dying dream, and as long as the rain's still going on out there, Ron is still alive, barely. And like Ron Ikubi is in here keeping Ron Ibuki alive until we get out of whatever pulled her into this. Lots to think about. And if everything themed around regrets... Koizumi-sensei was themed around regrets. Asakura very much around an occurrence which shaped Ron's outlook on life. So, you want to find it?
It'd probably be difficult. It was capable of bringing me here while avoiding my detection, and also capable of hiding from us all the way up to the present. It's not likely I'll be able to find it unless it actively appears before me. Which it obviously wouldn't.
I would never.
But what I have to do after this is quite clear. There must be some sort of meaning to recovering everyone's memories, or else there'd be no point to putting all these people connected with me in this place.
Well, we've got plenty of time ahead of us. Let's take it slow and see where we end up. Maybe I'll be able to remember something as well during the process. After all, my relationship with you is quite special. So maybe the people connected to you will also turn out to be familiar to me as well.
That's true. That's a major possibility. After all, you were practically the only person that I had a positive relationship with back then, Miss Sakura.
The only one.
She can't even remember everyone else.
Ann looked like she didn't quite know how to respond to that. After an awkward moment, she spoke again. Ron, have you considered the situation where I never managed to recover my memories?
Of course I have, but I'm never giving up no matter what. After all, it only took me 4 years to find you. In order to be able to return to the life I had with you, Miss Sakura, I'm willing to try anything.
It only took me 4 years. After Ron finished speaking, Ann seemed clearly somewhat cowed and didn't reopen her mouth. At that point, Ron's phone vibrated. Her After indicating her intent to Ann, she picked up the phone.
Koizumi-sensei?
Oh, Ron pressed the answer key. He had apparently interrupted Koizumi in the middle of taking a deep breath, resulting in Koizumi starting to cough uncontrollably. Oh no!
Is everything fine, Koizumi?
Hearing Ron speak Koizumi's name, Ann looked up at Ron.
No, everything's fine, Ibuki-san. So, what is it? Could you come to the dormitory building entrance after dinner? There's something important I want to tell you.
I'm confessing
He's here to confess again.
Again.
Can't you just tell me over the phone? Huh? No, there's something I need to give you as well.
A love letter.
Oh?
Conditions not met. Oh no.
Interesting.
Oh.
Is it because of our free time decisions?
Possibly. I wish I had more save points. Got a new recall point. What does this give us? Part 2. Branch recall.
What's that? Maybe it's something we can only experience in a recall? Does that make sense?
Oh, that is entirely possible. We'll continue on and keep that in mind. Unlock conditions.
And what is the note about Asakura?
Wait, what? It's actually pretty funny to... Oh, so apparently Miho's decided she's sleeping in my room now. I hope Aya doesn't get mad about it. Nah. Actually, what would an angry Aya even look like? I can't even imagine it. It's actually pretty funny to see Asakura hanging around with such a long face. Honestly, I support her, but... Ron had originally wanted to agree to Koizumi's request. After she opened her mouth, she clamped her teeth tight again, and only managed to spit a few words out.
I'm sorry, I'd rather not. Why?
The light sound of breathing came from the other end of the phone, followed by Koizumi's response in a cheerful voice.
It's okay, I love repressing my feelings. Sorry for bothering you, Ibuki-san.
After Ron hung up, Ann closed in immediately. What did Hinata say?
She said she wanted to meet up with me after dinner. But as soon as I think about what happened between me and her in the past, you start feeling like I don't know how I can possibly face her. Miss Sakura, what should I do? Can I make up for my mistakes with Koizumi-sensei with the present Koizumi?
Ann herself wished she had an answer for that hardball question that Ron had just tossed at her. You don't need to rush. There's still plenty of time. Ron nodded. Whether it was right or wrong, it was Ann's suggestion, and that alone was enough to let her trust in it, without hesitation.
Okay, I'll try that, I guess.
Then that'll be it for now. I've got my language class tomorrow, and I'd like to head back to prepare for it.
Okay. See you in a bit at dinner then, Miss Sakura.
But feels like the normal recall points are just like straight checkpoints. Maybe we can go further back and interact with Koizumi more and...
It's a nice way of exploring everything while still keeping with the consequences of our first choices.
Yeah. Interesting that it calls it a branch recall, though. We'll definitely have to try and revisit that down the line. Alright, tonight's dinner was much less lively than usual. Though Miho and Aya still sat next to each other, both of them were simply mechanically shoving food into their mouths with their heads lowered. Neither side of the table, Asakura and Tama sat together as well, with Tama occasionally glancing at Asakura. They remained silent as well, however, and Tama was conspicuously not serving food to Asakura as she had done at previous dinners.
Aww.
Oh. Ron made the occasional bit of chit-chat with Ann, but due to the atmosphere at the dinner table, they couldn't exactly have a free conversation either. At least Koizumi looked the way she always did, eating slowly and methodically.
Maybe I'll take another stroll after dinner. Miss Sakura's preparing her lessons, so I probably shouldn't disturb her.
Ron turned her gaze and saw that even Sai seemed to be in a low mood.
But even she's in a funk? Guess I should finish eating quickly and skedaddle.
No, Jill, you downers here. I am in love. Ooh. Room exploration. We're writing so much.
Let's wander around the dorm for a bit before showering.
What we got here? Yono. Aya? Ooh. Miho and Ra. Well, go see Miho, go see Aya. Downstairs is a free action. Can't go there. Kitchen. Checking to see what our Yono.
I'm kind of curious what's in the kitchen.
Oh, this is a free action.
Oh!
Let's go ahead in here.
Just to say hi to Miho.
Oh, hey. So you have a recall point. I'm going to drop that here. Ron opened the door and saw Miho hastily shove a book into a desk drawer. After hastily snapping the drawer shut, she brushed a tuft of hair behind her ear and showed Ron a smile.
What is it, Ibuki-san?
Ron looked at the entirely empty table in front of her.
Nothing. Shall we go shower then? I believe it's about time.
That.
The Merck Manual of Diagnosis and Therapy.
Well. Alright, I'm going to make my save point here. Just in case calling her out on this,
But why have you suddenly started reading the Merck Manual?
I want to get as good as you at investigation. You hesitated before giving Ron a small smile and answering easily.
I'm the school nurse after all. I always need to keep myself on top of knowledge related to my job.
Ron narrowed her eyes a bit as she nodded. Oh, okay. Keep that in mind. Do your investigation.
Maybe in a bit. I'll come find you when it's time to go.
After saying so, Ron left the room. Okay, very good. It was a free action. Go stop it and see... Well, first let's confirm that the only other action we got down here is the kitchen. Oh, sound
There's
from
some
the kitchen.
sound coming from the kitchen. Wonder if Yorino's in there.
Let's check
And
here
that means
first.
that Aya's in there alone?
Oh, yep, hi. Aya time. From Aya's room, Ron could hear the sounds of a guitar being plucked at. The notes started and stopped intermittently and didn't seem to form a complete tune at all.
You can tell she's in a terrible mood just by listening.
Sad guitar strumming. She knocked on the door and, after receiving a response, entered the room. Oh, my romantic rival. And here I thought it was Miho here to tell me to stop making a racket.
You always gonna call us that now?
Honestly, I love that.
Yeah.
I pressed down on the guitar strings to mute them and greeted Ron with a smile.
Don't tease me.
So, is there anything you need? I set the guitar aside by the wall as she spoke.
Nothing. I heard the sound, so I came to check it out.
Don't tell me you're here to take pity on me, are you?
Dang busted. Of course not. I'm just passing by.
Then please leave me alone, if you'd be so kind. I made a theatrical show of slowly reaching for a guitar, so that I can continue to occupy myself by playing tragic breakup songs.
Aw.
Oh,
If you're so sad about it, then you should hurry up and make up with Take already.
absolutely not. I can't make concessions about this, at least not while we're still in the same place. This matter is very important to me, you know? Smiling, Aya pointed 2 fingers at Ron. Just like how Ann is important to you. Aya stretched her legs out straight, repeatedly tapping the tips of her toes together. Ron discovered that she apparently enjoyed this action greatly. I've already been with her for 14 years, and that's just the beginning. I'm sure that Miho would be the most important person in my life. Will be the most important person in my life.
Yes.
Hmm.
He really is a lot like me. She's just like me for real.
For real, for real. Helplessly.
Makes me want to help them reconcile even more now. What was that about their relationship not being any of your business?
Whoops.
In the conflict between Toyama and Take, I'm sure I'd stand on Toyama's side. Well, if that's the case, then you better figure out how to make up with her quickly. I don't think I could stand to be apart from my beloved for more than a day.
I nodded, flashing Ron a goofy smile. Mm-hmm. Hearing that from you was just so convincing. Ron turned and was about to take her leave when Aya stopped her. Ron-chan, since you're already here, how about we shower together tonight? I wanted to chat with you a bit longer. Oh?
Are we gonna get towel sprites for all the girls?
Oh.
Toyama doesn't want Take to shower with me, huh? Aw.
Sure. I'll come find you once
Sure,
I've
I'll
gotten
come
ready.
find you once I've gotten ready.
Drat, sorry.
You're so valid. I don't want your relationship with Take to get any worse either.
I smiled. Her hands are mashed together in front of her. Oh, Ron-chan, you're so... Why don't you focus your cleverness elsewhere, huh? Oops. Did we just accidentally agree to go shower with We have sided firmly with Aya in this endeavor. We've taken Aya's side in the divorce. Sigh!
Oh, hair down too.
I'd love to see it. Sayuno stood next to the kitchen sink, preparing ingredients for the next day's meals. It seemed there was a lot. The whole kitchen counter was occupied.
What's with all this stuff?
Everyone looked like they were in a bad mood at dinner today. Gonna make some more nutritious food tomorrow. Maybe cheer them up a bit.
Ginger shots for everyone.
Yeah!
So that's why she looked frustrated at dinner today. How does Yorino have to be such a great person?
Why do you have to be so cool, Sai?
Never gonna be so bummed if it turns out she's dead too.
Yeah.
Want me to help you out?
No offense, but with how long it took you to make those mute skewers, I doubt you'd actually be able to help much.
Understandable.
Ron took a glance at her. Sai was wearing gloves and working on processing a bunch of vegetables which Ron couldn't even name. For a moment, she seemed to be picking away some of the wilted bits.
Well, I could help you wipe the table or something then?
Like I could hold bowls for you to scrape stuff in, I guess.
I can make spaghetti.
Yes. Spaghetti in pot. Meat in pot. Wang jangle with spoon. Sai nodded, without turning around. Looking at Sai busying herself with the mountain of work in front of her, Ron couldn't help but want to say something to her. Calculating social interaction. Ooh. We will be kind to her. No question here. We will be kind to her.
For now, I really like your cooking. It used to be that I didn't particularly care a lot about eating, but recently I've really been looking forward to our meals. She wants to care for herself now?
Oh, that's so. Sai didn't turn around as she spoke, but anyone could tell that she sounded quite pleased. My little sister was just like you. She liked my cooking a lot as well. Really, I only started learning how to cook for her. There was a period of time where she only wanted to eat food that I made, for whatever reason. So I did my best to learn a lot of recipes, so that she could enjoy her meals better.
So you're a sitcon. Updated profile, she is even more of a siscon than I thought.
You know what? You're right. I've got a sister complex. So what? She's owning it. I haven't been able to see her since I came here. I wonder how she's doing. Sai seemed a little downcast, thinking about her little sister, and Ron didn't like seeing Sai that way. In Ron's perspective, Sai Yorino was someone who oughtn't have that kind of look on her face.
I'm sure she's waiting for her big sister to come home and make her plenty of tasty things to eat.
Sai smiled as she turned around. Ron thought that was an expression that suited Sai's face much better. Aw. You're right, Ibuki. You're right. Friendship.
Love to see it.
Ron and Miho arrived at the bathroom. Bath already full of hot water. Oh no. Did we accidentally book a double shower date? The floor had also been thoroughly cleaned up. Even the chairs and toiletries had been arranged neatly. It didn't look as if anyone else had used the bathroom yet.
Aya is going to kill us. We're not the first ones to wash, are we? That's right, we're not. Whenever Tama finishes washing, she always cleans up the bathroom afterwards.
Ah.
And she does look like the kind of person who'd do that.
Yeah. Ron relaxed her body, letting herself slide almost completely into the water and shut her eyes to enjoy the warmth suffusing through her whole body. That sentence ate me for a second there, but even like this, she could still feel Miho's gaze on her. Even from the start, where the two of them were showering outside the bathtub, Ron would occasionally notice Miho looking over at Ron. When Ron intentionally met Miho's eyes, Miho would immediately break eye contact, only to return to stealing glances at Ron shortly later. Oh no.
This is why Aya wants us dead.
Correct. We have accidentally become romantic rivals.
What's she up to?
Ron opened her eyes and sat up straight, and Miho immediately looked away.
Okay. What is it, Ibuki-san? What do you mean, what's with you? If you got something to say, then just say it rather than staring at me like that. I'm afraid you'll get mad if I do. Oh, then don't say it and stop ogling me.
Miho hadn't expected Ron to shut her down so completely, so she replied hastily.
I want to say it even if it makes you mad anyways. If it does, feel free to yell at me.
Yeah.
Knew she'd panic and spill if I reacted like that. Oh, then I'm actually a little curious what someone with a personality like yours would have to say that'd anger me. Ibuki-san.
Miho turned aside and gazed at Ron with eyes moistened by the steam. With such eyes upon her, Ron thought that there was no way she'd get mad no matter what Miho was about to say.
Ibuki-san, do you have schizophrenia?
Ah. Well,
oh, right, she hasn't been public about that.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Whoopsies. Ron's eyes went wide, and she immediately and forcefully struck the water with her hand, setting up a huge splash. She needed to pretend that she needed to wipe the splashed water off her face so that she could hide the fact that she was wiping her tears. She thought she didn't care what others discussed that fact anymore, but after Miho had pointed out so bluntly, Ron still instinctively shrank away from her. She pulled herself to the edge of the bath and covered her mouth with her hands as she stared with wide eyes at Miho Take.
I'm sorry, Ibuki-san. I didn't mean anything by it. If you need help with anything, you can tell me about it.
Seeing Ron's response, Miho would almost certainly be treated as confirmation of Ron's schizophrenia. Conflict avoidance, being easily angered, and chronic paranoia were all common symptoms of the disease after all.
Calm down, Ibuki-san. I'm not going to hurt you. Remember that Ann's here too, and that you can go see her anytime you need to.
Oh.
Ann solves everything.
Truly. Ron lowered her hand. Her body continued to tremble, sending chaotic ripples out into the water around herself. Miho still proving she holds the vast majority of the brain cells here. That was, quite well handled. That was quite well handled on her part.
Mm-hmm.
Ron lowered her hand, her body continued to tremble, sending chaotic ripples out into the water around herself.
Why would you say something like that? I'm not insane. Oh, Ron. Sorry, it's just... I had a cousin who was like you. Later on, because of her illness, she broke off relations with her family and left the family and never came back. I'm worried about whether or not you might end up making any rash decisions, which is why I was wondering if there was any way that I could help you.
Somehow we're the source of her regrets, of Miho's regrets.
Oh, interesting.
In the side game, Miho's the protagonist of. We're the main interest.
I made all kinds of rash decisions already.
True. Ron hugged her legs, still as far from Miho as in the bathtub as she could put herself.
But I have Miss Sakura to help me, so there's nothing wrong with me. Nothing wrong with me. You don't need to worry about me. I have my own ways to keep it under control. I have this notebook that's not made of skin, and I eat it sometimes.
And it makes everything better.
Keep it under control. You're taking medicine, then? Used to take olanzapine. That stuff's dangerous if you take too much. It increases the risk of lethal cardiac arrhythmia. It does?
Well.
An insight freshly acquired from the Merc manual, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why she was reading it.
Is this like a part of the reason why she wanted to room with us?
Oh, that'd be sweet. Miss Sakura used to use the Merc manual to help me too. That's how I knew.
There's a non-zero possibility that Miss Sakura is not actually a licensed therapist.
Yeah.
Let's make things a little better.
Anyway, olanzapine's a thing of the past. I don't take it anymore.
I just take straight
I eat paper.
I just take straight paper. Possible flesh paper.
Okay. If you feel uncomfortable or if there's anything that's making you unhappy, you should definitely tell someone.
Oh.
Don't say that to me.
Ron slammed her hands in the water and screamed at Miho at the top of her lungs.
What's the point if I tell anyone? You'll just treat me like I'm spouting crazy talk. You see the things that I see? Can you hear the things I hear? Even if I did tell you, all you do is smile and tell me that I don't need to be afraid and that all those things are just illusions, but they're all real to me. If you think I'm mentally ill, then stay as far away from me as you can and leave me alone.
After Ron spoke, she immediately stood and strode away from the baths. Miho was worried she'd slip and fall and rose as well, wanting to follow her out.
Get away from me.
After Ron screamed at Miho again, all Miho could do was sit back down in the water.
I'm sorry, Ibuki-san.
Ooh. So I help.
I bet she's wishing she took that bath with Aya instead.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Chris. Yeah.
Chris, we're having a time.
We're having a heck of a time.
Good news, you missed most of the time.
Yeah. You got to see Asakura though. I think you will also enjoy Asakura.
She's become hotter.
Yes, correct. Quitting lesser evil unpacking. Ooh, lesser Women Wednesday.
Yeah.
Women Wednesday crimes. Women can do anything, even unpack. All over the place.
Talking about how I have everything under control, and then I wind up screaming at Take anyway. I've made an embarrassment of myself.
Ibuki?
Arno, are you still preparing food?
Just finished washing everything. Now I gotta prepare some of the more labor-intensive stuff. There's 8 mouths to feed now, so it's gonna take a bit more time. Forget about me. What's up with you? Did you get into a fight?
Oops, looks like they heard me. It must have been too loud.
A little bit? A little bit.
I'll go apologize to Take. It sure would be a shame if she was dead.
Truly. We are in fact roomies now. Good girl.
Why'd you even bother to ask if you'd already overheard it all? So annoying.
I will say this. I said this countless times, and I will continue to say it until the end of time. I adore Sai's big sister energy. So good.
Yeah.
Sai smiled and rubbed Ron's soggy hair with her hand before returning to the kitchen. Ron lowered her shoulders. She was quite aware that everyone here was just trying to look out for her. It was wrong for her to throw tantrums like that. But still, it doesn't exactly come from nowhere. That's, like, completely understandable feeling.
Mm-hmm.
To even take on that kind of being confronted about it. And just immediately reaching back to like that. Miho didn't even come close to saying any of that, but that still came from a place that Ron has no doubt been through before she met Miss Sakura. So very real and understandable of her, and Miho did her best, but still very real and understandable of Ron to react that way.
Yeah, she seems like she'd have a lot of mistrust of authority that is not on Sakura.
Correct. Returning to her room, she immediately ducked into the bedsheets and flipped over to face the wall. For long, Miho pushed the door open and entered the room as well. Ron shrank in on herself, not wanting Miho to see her face.
I'm sorry, Take. I shouldn't have spoken to you so harshly just now. It's okay, Ibuki-san. I was at fault as well.
Miho was waiting for Ron to say something else in response, but after waiting a while and seeing that Ron had no intent of following up, she continued speaking.
Let's go to bed and get some rest. Good night.
Miho laid down in the top bunk and turned off the lights in the room. Oh. Next morning, Miho actively offered to help Ron sort out her hair, which had gotten messy from sleeping. He even ironed her uniform for her. It made Ron start to understand how Makoto Asakura must have felt. Oh no.
Where did she even get an iron from?
After the two of them left the room together, they found that the other students were blocking up the hallway and discussing something.
Why do I feel like I've been in a situation like this before?
Oh no. Ron quickly walked to Ann's side and took hold of her arm.
Good morning, Miss Sakura. What's everyone gathered here for?
Good morning. Your hair's unusually neat this morning, Ron. Usually it's a bit messier.
Yeah, I'm sorry for letting a girl besides you touch my hair. So, what's going on?
Ann didn't immediately answer Ron. Her light breathing tickled Ron's heart. Oh no! Hinata's dead!
Oh, Ripperoonie.
Oh, I suppose I should rephrase that. Hinata's dead. Ron's hands dropped free from Ann's arm. Even though she knew this was just another round of the killing game, the calmness in Ann's voice was still enough to make her heart skip half a beat. After that, an overwhelming flood of shame from her memories submerged her. Poked her head out of the swamp of shame as best as she could, trying to catch a breath. Then she shoved away to the front of through the crowd of students forcefully until she came to its forefront.
Koizumi.
Ron stood on the second floor balcony and looked downwards. Hinata Koizumi was dangling, dead, in midair. Ah!
Oh! Ooh!
Oh no!
Her blushing face.
No!
Ron, this is literally a murder.
Please.
I think that Koizumi-sensei would kill herself. Was it my fault? If I hadn't harshly rejected her invitation, but rather tried to extend even the slightest bit of affection to her? Oh, she's still really affected by remembering Asakura.
Understandable. Ron took a deep breath. She didn't want her emotions to overrun all of her thinking.
Oh, calm down. It's not certain to be suicide. It's also very possible that it's only been disguised as a suicide.
Ron? What's wrong?
Nothing. I was just thinking.
Hey, there she is. There's Asakura.
Ah!
Well, if it wasn't a suicide, then the killer sure was a real dumbass this time around, committing the murder at the dorms.
And the way she's cussing more. Everyone's paired up by the room, so if someone was conspicuously absent, it would be quite easy to notice.
So yes, this is the real Asakura. She's awesome.
There could have been people moving about the dorms at any point. Unmistaken, they'd have been seen in the act. Up until we all went to bed last night, Koizumi was still alive. The window of time where the murder could have happened is very short. All you have to do is compare what we were all doing last night, and it should be pretty easy to start finding clues. Let's start by asking Ann, then. Ann, you're roommates with Hinata. You must have been the last to see her, right?
Before Ann could answer, Sai interjected. Well, to see Koizumi was probably me. Prepared food late into the night last night. After Koizumi finished with her shower, I even saw her wave hello to me.
Just Koizumi? Miss Sakura, you didn't shower with Koizumi yesterday?
But-
Make me uncomfortable to even ask about that.
That's right. When I asked Hinata to come with me, she told me to go on ahead. She looked like she was in a poor mood, so I didn't force her to come with me. Koizumi didn't speak to me after I returned either. She waited until it was almost time to sleep before she went downstairs to shower. She even turned off the lights and told me to go to bed first. She said something along the lines that she might take a long time washing. Huh.
I see.
Late night shower. Well, it sure sounds a lot like suicide. Has the class rep been down in the dumps lately? Ron could imagine countless reasons that Koizumi might have chosen to kill herself, most of them having to do with Ron.
Oh, geez, don't be too self-absorbed, Ron. Let's first ask everyone when exactly they went to use the showers and use that to start building a timeline of last night's event.
Late night showers? You mean basically the only showers that I take? Understandable.
Toyama and Yorino were the first to wash, right?
Sai nodded in response.
And then after that was Asakura and Indo. I even had a short conversation with Take about how well Indo tidied up the bathroom. Oh, thank you for your praise, Ibuki-san.
Oh. Then it was me, and finally it was Hinata.
Alright, let's write all that down and start investigating the corpse. They should wait to get Koizumi down until we're done gathering information.
Oh, what did. Alright, very good.
Koizumi-sensei, you wouldn't kill yourself, right?
Not.
I mean, it would be one way of escaping her parents' control in reality.
True. Not. Neck, body, chair. We're in denial. Oh no. A chair for the kitchen laid on the floor. Whether the killer had put it there intentionally, or Koizumi had kicked it over in the death throes of her suicide, it seemed there were no clues to be had from it. Ron circled the chair a few times and saw nothing noteworthy. Ron climbed to the second floor and knelt on the floor, inspecting the rope tied to the railings closely.
There are clear signs that the end was cut. The rope must have been longer previously. If Koizumi-sensei killed herself, then she should have taken the rope to the second floor, tossed the noose end down to the lower floor, then pulled the rope until the noose was at an appropriate height before tying the rope to the guardrail here. The excess length could be cut off after the knot was tied. Then what would be the point of that?
Right.
What do you do with that rope then?
Ron stood up and leaned over the guardrail, looking down at the lower floor. Aya gave Ron a cheerful wave. Thanks, Aya. The other students were gathered in discussions and analysis around Koizumi's corpse. That, like, if you're really planning out your own suicide, would you really take the time to trim the rope to the specific height you need?
And what's the point of the killer cutting the rope?
Honestly, yeah, it doesn't seem to make much sense either way, to be perfectly honest.
If it was a homicide, the process would mostly have been the same. Or maybe the killer carried Koizumi-sensei's corpse to the second floor before putting the noose around her neck and throwing her over the railing.
Ron gave the rope a hard rub, causing a fair amount of detritus to flake off. There was also plenty of fibers left over around the railings.
The rope seems quite old. A single touch caused a bunch of it to come off.
Ron looked at the fibrous debris in her hand, deep in thought. Well, we had a very concerning neck trauma last time. So I want to think about this rope stuff. Then pulled the rope until the noose was at an appropriate height, tying the rope to the guardrail. Hmm. The end was cut. Maybe the cut is meaningless. And, like, if the rope segment was too long, then we just would have had a longer tail spitting out of it. And
Maybe.
And they just, like, lowered the noose through there and just tied it off when it seemed like it worked. It just so happened that it worked out the way it did. I don't know. Ron found herself a chair to stand on and craned her head to inspect Koizumi's neck. Oh? Detritus?
The ropes are tied tightly to her neck. There's almost no gap between the two. In a situation like this, both the ventral and dorsal sides of the neck ought to be prominently marked, and also seeing a lot of rope debris around her neck.
Yeah. Something rubbing. Ron poked a finger between the rope and Koizumi's neck to make a gap, and was just barely able to see the skin underneath on the back of Koizumi's neck.
As expected, the back of the neck is also bruised. If the culprit used this rope to strangle Koizumi-sensei before stringing her up, then they may have tied the noose this tightly to cover up the unnatural marks. But the messiness of the scrape markings make it hard to judge. All I can say for sure is that the marks were definitely made by this rope, since their patterns match each other perfectly.
Alright, that track. Oh, hand. What's in your hand? Koizumi was wearing a white sleeping gown. Must have changed into it after she'd washed.
Are we sure about that?
This also seems suspicious.
What if she never showered?
Sigh, no. Sigh, no, I was just glazing you. Your adorable sisterliness. Why would you do this? Ron noticed some detritus on her shoulder. Based on its color, it must have come from the rope that had been used to hang her.
Miss Sakura, can you tell me what Koizumi was wearing before she went to wash?
Her uniform. Ron nodded. Ron approached the corpse.
What if the culprit saw her naked?
Strangled in the showers. Entirely rude of them. Ron approached the corpse and examined Koizumi's dangling hands. Though her nails were a bit long, they were manicured immaculately, and the tips of her fingers were clean.
Doesn't seem like there's anything noteworthy. So that means that she was unconscious at the time when she was hung.
Oh.
Because the body will naturally try to get it off of their neck.
Right. Do we want to spend a temp point to point that out? Feels like
yeah, we just got one. Might as well.
This was investigation. Wait, why are the fingers so clean?
Why are the fingers so clean? There's no sign of abrasion at all. Not even any abnormalities with the fingernails. I am so smart.
Truly. Ron lifted Koizumi's hand and closely inspected it. What is it? When Ann saw what Ron was doing, she approached as well.
Are you jealous I'm holding hands with another girl, Miss Sakura? Looks like the probability of this being a homicide has just increased.
Cue the opening credits of the cop procedural, starring Ron, Ibuki, and Miss Sakura. Ann looked at Koizumi's hand and nodded, a light smile rising on her face. Yeah! Da, da, da. We done?
That's about all I could get off the corpse.
Ron shared the clues she'd found with the others.
And let's get Hinata down from there and take her to the morgue. We can also take her clothes off and check her body for any other signs of injury there.
I'll carry her then. Her body's in pretty complete shape, so I don't think we need a body bag for this one.
Just lift her like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah. Side gestured Asakura over to help her, and as Side held Koizumi from below, Asakura got up on her tiptoes and used a fruit knife provided by Tama to cut Koizumi loose. As the rope broke, Koizumi's corpse landed in Sai's lap, who picked her up in a bridal carry. Oh! Besides Koizumi's lips looking rather cyanotic, She looked just like she'd fallen asleep, with her head gently resting on Sai's chest.
Miss Sakura?
By the way, who killed the gal with the gnarly neck damage? We will show you. I'd like to stay at the scene of the crime and see if there are any other clues. Ron nodded.
I should figure out where I want to investigate as well.
Oh, recall point. Where do
You
we
want to save the investigation for next stream so we don't forget evidence before our actual summation?
Oh, true. Oh, well, there's a lot of places to go. Oh, boy.
Oh.
And I can't actually open
Hiro
up the
and
menu
Asakura hanging out. That's interesting.
here. Yeah, I feel like we drop it on there and save.
Yeah.
In that scene. Yeah. Hey, Chris. She did it. After Ron entered the morgue, she found that Asakura was also there. We need to leave with Asakura on the screen.
You're here as well, Asakura? Yorino's disappeared, though. Yorino-san went back to the dorms. She said she wanted to look over the scene of the crime a bit more. I see. So, how's the condition of the corpse? Dead.
Dead. Ron approached the bed, where Koizumi had already been changed into a hospital gown.
Besides the neck, there's no signs of any other external injuries. It was probably just the strangling that did the job.
Dang it, I was promised Asakura. Hey, there he is. There she is. Can't believe that someone other than myself chose to commit suicide. And that's believe it or not, Chris, this is the perfect summation of Asakura's motives for the Chapter 1 case.
I'm in love, actually.
Real. That is real and true for you. I support that. Yeah, well, one last review. Portia didn't actually change, did she? It did not actually change. Darn. But yeah. We remembered where we know Asakura from. And that's... She had a very high-profile suicide. Like, very, very public. Very, very
And we
public.
pinned her.
Yes. And she had a very public suicide that was, like, literally in the middle of the street, witnessed by thousands of people. And went viral online. All the YouTube clickbait channels picked it up, and it was literally, while someone was cutting sashimi, she looked up, saw the fish, and said, "Just like me, for real," and well, went viral. And then Ron Ibuki saw it online and went, "Just like me, for real." But I'm built different. I have Miss Sakura.
I'm going to cling to Miss Sakura even harder now.
Yes. If only you had a Miss Sakura, Asakura, you would have been fine. And also, I swear, when that one memory scene sketch was showing just all fish on that screen, it's like, oh, it's Welchers. It's Welchers, Lobotomy Corporation.
Oh no!
The fish did it. Gosh diddly dang it. Let's see here. Does that make it my fault? The way that Aya and Miho argue is just the worst. They're both so certain that they're the one who's in the right, and that they're just doing what's best for each other. I know that Take was just trying to let me know that she cared, but I still wish she'd never brought it up at all. Oh. Alright, so. On that note.
Saving again just in case.
Yeah. I'm just keeping that save in mind. Don't mind me.
We also learned that Ann Sakura would sometimes feed Ron mouth to mouth.
Yeah, that's just a thing that happened. That's just
like a baby bird.
Yeah. And when she...
Where the hell?
Precisely. Precisely. That is real and true.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you, Manji. And hey, we just made it at the end here. And yes, That face you're seeing, Manji, that is the oh wait, we can't actually see that because we are in the way. Just realizing. I have to hide
Wish
you,
there was the
Freya.
gallery mode.
Yes, I have to hide you, Freya, so you can see Asakura there. There we go. There. Poof. There. There she is.
God, she's gorgeous.
Honestly. It's real and true. So, yeah. I think this is a very good point in time to leave that off on then. So, all right. What do we see here? Anyone on we can raid? We call it a night here.
Looks like Saucy is playing not Danganronpa.
Ooh. That's actually perfect then. We can go from Danganronpa Yuri to Danganronpa RTS. It's understandable. Let's do it then. I have to actually hang on. I have to actually find my. Let's bring Freya back. Yeah, Freya's back. There's Saucy. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see if I can do this correctly from here. Raid. Oh, see. All right. Is this working out right? I have to. Yeah. I need to just double check. So I'm doing that from my phone because I accidentally closed out on the chat view on OBS. Okay. Yes, excellent. All right, very good. So this was a wild ride. I also can't believe we stumbled upon another murder already. Be real.
Mm-hmm.
But
Everything are moving pretty fast.
yeah. So we've got two memories now. We've got a branch point, which is really interesting. Like there's a possible path where we go visit Koizumi and maybe find a different murder. Very curious. I'm enjoying where we got.
If the game ends when we have memories of everyone, then do you think there'll be like 7 chapters?
Yeah, possibly. Or it could just be that we end up with like 4 or 5 and just events like Koizumi's in the middle of one, which picks up someone else's memories. Yeah, I'm feeling like 4 or 5. I guess we'll see how things develop from there. Or we'll see like how the branch point works.
Yeah.
Very curious to see how that works. But we're running out of time now, so quickly. Anything else we're cooking the rest of the week, Freya?
Rune Factory tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there they go.
No, there he goes. God, crud. Whoopsies. That ran out of time faster than I thought. Okay, very good. I should probably end stream now. Yeah.